Joe, being Joe, he messaged me and he said, if we can get this podcast to be the number one, that is the number one downloaded podcast ever, and I think it's 75,000. 75,000?
Yeah, the first week of downloads, if we could beat 75,000 downloads
I want
in
you
that
to tell
first week.
exactly what you said to me. What did you tell me? And I have it in writing. What did you say?
I told him if this show gets more than the most downloaded podcast we've ever had in the first week, I will fly out to Australia, across the world, fly out to Australia, and I will coach at Kristian's facility. I will work for him for free for 1 week. Fasten your seatbelts, people.
Here we go.
I got a feeling we are in for a wild ride today because my man sitting across from me is fired up, and that man is Kristian Woodford, one of, I'll say, one of the most experienced strength and conditioning coaches in Australia. One of our top CPPS coaches. I'll throw that plug in there.
Damn.
You are the owner of Woodford Sports Science Consulting,
yes.
Correct?
I'm glad you got that right.
Which is let's just say it, the leading strength and conditioning facility in the private sector
in Australia.
All honesty, this dude's probably one of the most passionate, I'll say the most passionate
Yes.
coach I've ever met.
Yes.
Yes, he's a little nuts.
Yes, I'm nuts.
If we're being honest, this crazy bastard flew from Australia to New Jersey, literally just to be on this podcast.
Yeah, it was literally to be on this podcast.
So I can't wait to get today's show started. Kristian, welcome to the Dirty Jersey and the Industrial Strength Show.
Before I start, get ready for this. I want everyone who is listening from Australia to get behind this podcast. Now, listen.
Tell them what's going on.
This is what's going to happen. I want everyone to hear this before we even start this podcast. Listen, this guy right here is my idol, and I think you guys all know it, and I feel sorry for him because I bombard the crap out of him. But here's the thing. Joe, being Joe, he messaged me and he said, if we can get this podcast to be the number one, that is the number one downloaded podcast ever, and I think it's 75,000. 75,000?
Yeah, the first week of downloads, if we could beat 75,000 downloads
I want
in
you
that
to tell
first week.
exactly what you said to me. What did you tell me? And I have it in writing. What did you say?
This is in writing, so I would have to stand by. I would never renege on a bet. That's one thing. Definitely not. That's not me.
Yep.
What I don't like doing, as many of you know, is traveling. I hate flying to Florida, which is a 2-hour flight. So obviously I have nothing against Australia. Love the people there.
I hope
One
so.
of our biggest, I don't know for sure, but after the U.S., I don't know if it's Australia or the U.K. is the most downloads. So
It'd be Australia. It'd be Australia. 100%.
Probably
the UK, Australia number one.
So tons of support over there. Totally appreciate it. But I hate to travel. With the back issues and being away from the family. I'm not going to give you the sob story, but I hate to travel. I'll be
the violins
honest.
are playing right now.
But I did tell Kristian, if I believe it was the Triple H podcast got like 70-something, 75,000 downloads after the first week. I told him if this show gets more than the most downloaded podcast we've ever had in the first week, I will fly out to Australia, across the world, fly out to Australia, and I will coach at Kristian's facility. I will work for him for free for 1 week. So
listen,
I'm in a little bit of a bind because obviously I want the show to be downloaded. It's my podcast. The more downloads, the better. Helps everybody out. And I love you, and I want to see your facility do well.
I hope you do.
Do I want to go and work for you for a week? Hell no.
Yeah.
Hell no.
I don't think my own staff. I don't think my own staff want to work for me. But you know what, Australia, even if you're an American, if you're from the UK, and you want to see Joe in my facility, or just see Joe internationally, guys, let's get behind this. And you know what? I'm going to give you everything plus more in this podcast. I'm going to throw you knowledge bombs, my passion. I'm going to be full on, and I'm a bit nuts, but you know what? You guys are going to get a lot from this podcast. So first of all, I want to thank Joe for allowing me to come on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, and I again appreciate you coming out here.
That's okay.
Damn, Reese Hoffa flew in from Georgia a couple weeks ago for the day,
Georgia.
which I was like, whoa, dude, that's serious dedication. You flew across the world to come on this podcast, which is insane. Now, I know you have a lot. You have a lot of knowledge, passion. I wanna start with your story, but because I don't want anyone to miss anything that you say, I feel like we should almost clarify some of our terminology because you speak a little. People say I speak fast. For like normal people think I speak loud and fast. You make it sound like I'm on like slow-mo. And that accent, maybe I shouldn't talk with the Jersey accent.
Jersey.
Let's first go over what are the words that we didn't see eye to eye on. Okay, in case they get brought up during the podcast.
Just number one, Joe, I want you to say aluminium.
So now, does anybody listening right now have any freaking idea what the hell he just said?
Aluminium.
He's saying aluminium, yet he means aluminum.
We've never heard of what aluminum is.
What? That is one point for the New Jersey guys because we're right on that one.
Man. Where's the Australian coaches? Aluminium. Aluminium.
New Jersey 1, Kristian,
aluminium.
Australia 0. And then what's the clothing brand you mentioned?
Oh, this is okay. Listen, guys, I have Alan Webber. If you're listening, and just for everyone out there, Alan Webber. We stayed with him and his beautiful wife Amanda and their kids for 2 days, and we checked that out with Coach Doyle. But he said the word Adidas.
Yeah, Adidas.
Adidas.
Oh my Lord!
Adidas. No. What is Adidas? And by the way, I've got an article saying that you guys say it wrong. We say it right. Adidas.
So I just to clarify, because I guarantee there's people that still don't know what the hell you're talking about. So like you have Nike, Under Armour, that other company, Adidas. He's claiming is
Adidas.
Pronounced Adidas.
Adidas. That's what? 2 for Kristian, 0 for Joe.
Hell no.
2 for Kristian, none for Joe. Adidas.
Now, did you at least pick up like coffee since you've been in New Jersey?
Hey, I want some coffee.
You say that right?
They say coffee. Over in Jersey, I met up with one of my athletes, and she's got a girlfriend, and she was saying coffee.
Yeah, coffee.
Yeah,
how do you say it in Australia?
Coffee.
All right.
Say it again.
Coffee.
Don't you find that weird?
No.
Coffee.
We're right. The rest of the world is wrong.
Wait. One more for me. Yeah. Tomato.
Oh no! Oh hell no! You say tomato. I say tomato like a man. Tomato. But you say potato. I'm assuming.
Potato.
Yeah, potato.
Potato.
Not potato.
No, not potato. No.
Oh, okay.
Tomato.
Potato.
But just can you say tomato one more time?
Tomato.
Oh,
give me a tomato with my freaking coffee and my Taylor ham, egg, and cheese. Let's go.
I'll take a tomato.
So, but I do want to make sure, and I am. There's no bigger advocate of me wanting, anyone, not just you, people to be themselves. So I don't want you to be anybody you're not. But if you could slow it down a half of a beat.
When I listen to you,
because I know people like even just now you said you visited. Who did you visit at Iowa?
Coach Doyle.
Nobody caught that you were at the University of Iowa. It was just like I visited Coach Doyle.
I was at the so do you know when I listen to Joe, everyone, I actually have to speed it up.
What, really?
Ask him. He's the same. We all do it.
Wow.
1.5. All of us.
Then that's definitely an Australian thing because nobody has ever. The rap on me is I talk too loud and too fast.
Whoa, you guys are in for a rush here, aren't you?
But wow. People have said a lot of shit about me. Never that I talk too slow. Wow.
Too slow.
Yeah, but you Australians, I hate to stereotype an entire nation, right now, but like it's just like mumble.
I represent all Australians now. That's what we. Oh no.
Well, so that's why we couldn't do this via Skype because I think the way as fast as you talk, plus like the little bit of clarity and crispness that you lose via Skype would have been awful. So before I think we should start with. We gave everybody a little bit of your background, but give them the story of how you are here right now, what you did to get on this show.
Okay. Here we go. You want to sit down? I suggest you sit down. Listen, if you're from Australia, you've probably heard this a lot of times. But if you're from America, from the UK, you've never heard it before. I think my story is something where I started. If you know anything about Australia, and a lot of your viewers might not hear and might not understand, the strength and conditioning industry in Australia is kind of like in its infancy, right? So it was kind of like when you're going through uni and you do an undergrad degree in exercise science like I did, it's either professional sport or nothing. Now, in America, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, you've got private sector, quite well developed because of yourself and Boyle, all these guys. Then you've got collegiate sector, then you've got professional sport.
Yes.
Right? In Australia, there's when I was going through, there was professional sport or pretty much nothing, right? The private sector wasn't well developed, right? So just to let everyone know, I've been following Joe Defranco, and I think everyone knows in Australia how much I respect Joe and everything that he's done, because what Joe did, he gave, especially me, he gave me the light at the end of the tunnel to see that you can train athletes in the private sector. You don't have to sell out. You don't have to train bullshit training methods and do bit of circus tricks to sell out. You can do fundamental sports science principles. You can train athletes the basics, high-level way, and you can get good results. But not only that is, I think you showed me a way to do it with, at the time, I kind of felt like you'd have to go to, I don't know what you guys have, like a commercial gym here, like...
like 24-hour fitness or
Planet,
like even Gold's Gym, Planet Fitness, whatever.
Yeah. So I never wanted to go down that route because it was like kind of... I didn't want to pay, the rental system. You bring in one client. I wanted to be my own boss, like yourself, but also build a brand. I always wanted to build a brand, my own brand. So kind of looking at how you did it and in terms of training athletes. But what I liked about you, Joe, it wasn't just for the strength sport athlete. It was for the field-based sport athlete. So what we call gridiron, you guys call American football.
Yes.
But it's not the real football.
You call it gridiron.
Yeah, the real football.
Football is soccer.
No. Football, AFL football. So Australian rules football.
Australia,
that's our main sport, right? For you guys calling it football makes no sense to me. That's gridiron to me, and football is our football, the Australian rules football.
You play football on the gridiron. It's not the name of the sport. Just an FYI.
Yeah. But I know what you're saying, but you're still wrong with it. But anyway,
listen, call it what you want. You say tomato, I say tomato.
Yeah, okay. So Jesus Christ. So as I said, I was going through uni, and my thing was I had no one to look up to. So I had no one to completely look up to, and the only person I could I was looking. I've seen your stuff. I told you since 2004 when I was in year 12. So I'd read T Nation, and then there was this guy and his wife beater. They did write this photo, this wife beater from Jersey. I'm from Jersey, and you wrote these articles, and I clearly remember after I did a lot of things. I was at the Institute of Sport. I did a lot of things with what we call professional junior sport in Australia. Yep. But it wasn't really my calling, and I didn't really get my calling till I was at till I got my internship at the University of Maryland. So I want to give a shout out to Coach Wilson, Coach Corson, and Coach Alan Webber for believing me to come across.
You did an internship at University of Maryland?
At Maryland.
Oh, no shit.
In their football departments. This is where I started learning about. Oh shit! Damn it! I said football. Gridiron. Damn it! In your football department, right? So for them and Land to come across, that really sparked up a passion because in terms of athlete development and understanding how to apply fundamental sports science principles into a practical sense, you're miles ahead of us. We're big, I'll be honest with you, not being disrespectful to any American coaches, we're more sports science than we are athlete development.
That's what I was going to say, because you always talk about us Americans being ahead of the game, but not, I wouldn't think so. Being here, I wouldn't think... I'm glad you clarified that, I guess, is what I'm saying, because the sports science, I wouldn't say we're ahead of the game.
No. We're look, if we look at it, I say America #1 for athlete development, we're #2, but for sports science and the application of it, we're #1, you guys #2. But in saying that, meeting Coach Doyle and talking to a few of the guys who worked on staff at the new...
Iowa.
Iowa, but also this guy worked at... an NFL team, the Giants, the New York
Giants. Yeah, they're right across the street, right here.
Yeah, New York Giants. What he was saying, they're integrating a lot more sports science. So you guys are starting to pick
Yes,
it up.
we are. And it's who you surround yourself with around here. Aaron, the strength coach of the New York Giants, who I need to go see more of. He's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is that who you were speaking to?
I can't remember which guy it was, but he was just talking about how
Aaron Wellman.
Aaron Wellman.
He's the Giants strength and conditioning coach, but very into
GPS, HRV, all that stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah.
He's
so
awesome.
you're integrating a lot more. But back when I went through, and then I finished uni, I did my honours, And then when I went to Maryland, I saw, God, this is just a whole nother level. Like to see, and yeah, okay, you got more. And for all my haters out there, people say this all the time, and I'm getting sick of it. Yes, America have more people. I get it. But when you come over to America, understand this. Their understanding of how to apply fundamental sports science principles and coach athletes for better, whatever it is, strength, power, speed, mobility, whatever it is, your understanding is unbelievable. I can talk to you. I could talk to any other coaches. And yes, I understand there's going to be levels of how do I put it? Levels of understanding, levels of what you rank a coach at. But it's subjective, right? I understand that. You know, if we have the best coaches all have something in common. They see success leaves clues, right? And you talk to, let's say you're in a room with 10 coaches, right? And they're all very good coaches, right? But they all come from different backgrounds. They've got different experiences, right?
Yep.
One thing I always do when I talk to the best coaches, like yourself, like Smitty, like guys at Iowa, is they've all got similar in terms of what I call the big rocks. They're all similar in what they say on the big rocks. You know what I'm saying when I say the big rocks? But it might be subtle differences on how they cue, how they coach. Look, I don't like that. You know, like, example, Boyle doesn't like back squatting. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
But you put us in a group. We're going to agree on 95% of the stuff that matters. He might not back squat. We back squat a little bit more, but the main principles are the same with the best coaches.
Exactly. They always apply. So
yeah.
Kind of for me, every time I come back, it's like your understanding of athlete development, how important it is, not just for, let's forget about the performance benefit. Let's think about the injury reduction benefit. Like, for me, I think our number one job is injury reduction and keeping them healthy and on the field.
Yes.
I think that's the one people miss. I mean, yeah, it's great they're jumping on running quick, but I think the one that a lot of coaches miss is that injury reduction standpoint. If you can keep them fit and healthy and they can just train for their sport, well, they're gonna be able to perform, aren't they? They're not injured.
100%. They're not. If they're injured, they can't run and jump and play their sport. So yeah, we have to keep them on the field, and that is the one thing. That's where we are. That's one of the things I don't like. What you're starting to see, and it's not even. I don't think it's an American thing. I think it's an internet thing with the popularity of Instagram and YouTube. Everybody wants to make a name for themselves, so they skip over that foundation, and the first athlete that they get to train, they want to do all the cool shit, so they get the likes and the comments on their Instagram page. But now they're not putting their athletes' health first. They're just trying to do cool shit for followers and fame. But they're skipping over that foundation and what our job should be first and foremost. To your point, keep athletes healthy, injury-free, and healthy. The best we can. You can't guarantee it, but
well, they're going to be banged up a little bit.
They're always going to be a little banged up.
Especially in a sport like NFL where it's a contact-based sport.
Yes.
But saying that, though, can I say one thing? Why do you guys wear pads? We don't wear pads in our sport. We just...
See, but I'll argue that it's when you have that helmet on and pads on, you're more likely to run harder, hit harder. You don't see collisions. Australian rules football is brutal. Yes. I'm a huge fan.
Oh, good.
But I don't. The contact, I would not put it at the same level of an NFL game.
Have they done research onto pressure PSI in terms of when linemen hit or whatever?
Yes, it's like it's equivalent to car accidents.
Really?
The one thing you do need to do at some point in your life is be on the sideline of a Division I college football game or an NFL game like nothing you have ever seen. And again, I met some rugby dudes, some Australian rules football dudes, tough bastards, not taking anything away from them. But, man, when you put that helmet on and these guys are running a 4.3 second 40-yard dash and have 20, 30 yards of steam and just whack, like running into each other, those collisions are freaking violent. It's brutal. So I think it's worse.
Even the linemen run like who were we talking to Alan about? He said the linemen run pretty quick these days.
Yeah, this running 4.8, 4.7 at 320 pounds.
Yeah, imagine the pressure when they come together.
It's insane. The collisions are insane, and that's why. Yeah, I think the helmet gives you that false sense of security. Like, oh yeah, I got a helmet on, so you're a little more. You're not just going to run full speed and put your head down and go head to head, collision. Yeah, listen, they're each tough in their own ways, but man, that the little pads that they wear in football, I think actually makes it worse. Okay, but anyway,
full screen. Going back to my point, and I'm going to go in circles here. So
I'm sure you will. Yeah,
I'm sure you will bring back a point.
Back.
So. I mean, for all the people out there who say to me that, yes, they've got more people, I understand they've got more people, but their understanding is better. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I'm saying. They've got understanding is better. Now, you go to any gym in Australia and you say the word physical prep coach or whatever we are. I mean, at the bottom line, what are we? We're a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, it's semantics. Call it what you want.
Call it what you want, right? But at least they understand the basic understanding of what it is to be a strength conditioning coach. In Australia, it'd be like, oh, you're a personal trainer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, it was, where do I go with this? Because in the private sector, it's like you guys had the biggest loser here, and I know you interviewed a guy who did the biggest loser.
Yeah.
The biggest loser really, and I don't know if you're allowed to swear on this show, but I think the biggest loser really fucked this industry up, for our industry up. Sorry, Mum. I'm only allowed 5, so there's 1, there's 4 to go. Apologise, Anita and Jeffrey Woodford. But I think the biggest loser dented the industry because it was all, and look, I really loved how you interviewed that guy. I forgot his name. I'm sorry if I forgot his name. What was his name?
With Jeff. It's been a lot of shows.
Yeah, it's been a lot of shows. But he was fantastic. I really liked him. But,
yeah, I was pleasantly surprised too.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is I think that show...
Jeff Nichols.
Jeff Nichols.
So it just hit me.
Jeff, I remembered your name. He didn't remember it. So, I just think that what it did for our profession in general, it really fucked our profession. Oh, shit, there's 3 to go. It really screwed up our profession because it was like, Joe, you take morbidly obese people and then you flog the shit out of them straight away. And it's like, if you don't do that, you don't break them down. Why the hell do we have to take someone who's morbidly obese and their first session flog them with star jumps, push-ups?
Oh, I know.
When they can't even just do a basic body weight.
200 pounds overweight, doing jumping lunges. It's insane.
Joints, yeah.
Oh, my God. That's what prompted, I don't know if you knew the backstory, that's what prompted to have him on the show.
Yeah.
I did that rant that you're just talking about on my Instagram.
Yep.
Kevin Sampson, shout out Sampson, who helps me with my editing and stuff, and just to spice up that clip a little bit, the podcast clip of me ranting about The Biggest Loser and the trainers just trying to break the contestants down and how it does more damage than good, especially long term. He added B-roll clip of The Biggest Loser and people puking on themselves and running on the treadmill puking. Yeah. And Jeff was the dude, the clip that he pulled, I didn't know Jeff Nichols personally at the time. To me, it was just a clip of a guy on The Biggest Loser basically throwing up on himself and then getting yelled at to jump back on the treadmill and start sprinting again. And this is kind of cool, the reach of this podcast and my social media. I post that clip, and then I get a DM from the dude in the clip puking on himself. He's like, hey, that clip that you posted of the guy throwing up on himself during The Biggest Loser show, that's me. I'd love to come on your pod. Like, and no, he didn't say I'd love to come on your podcast, but he's like, I could clarify, a lot of the things you said about that show are 100% accurate on them trying to beat you up. But there's a lot of stuff that they don't show. There are some trainers that are good. And so that's when I said, hey, I would love to hear more about that. Come on the show. But it was funny. He was that guy doing, jumping lunges and throwing up on himself and then getting told to do 20 more.
20 more.
He was like, yeah, that's me throwing up in on your Instagram. And I was like, oh, come on the podcast.
Did Jeff get anyone to tag you in his post Instagram? Did Jeff do a tagging thing like I did?
No, he did not. Yeah, so let's bring it full circle. The original question was, how are you on this podcast?
Okay.
But I like the fact that it's good for people. People love the backstory. Like, I don't just say, I tagged Joe, and I wasn't expecting you to be like, I tagged Joe on Instagram. You
know me too well.
1,000 times.
So what? I'll keep going with this. So literally, as I said, I looked at you. There was no one to look up to. Pretty much, it was either Joe Defranco or...
But so there's not a lot of private sector guys in Australia.
Here's the thing about the private sector in Australia, and this is no disrespect, because I'm sure I'm going to get people who just go, he wasn't the first. Listen, I wasn't the first. I'm not saying I was the first. What I'm saying is I was the first one to heavily promote it on social media, right? That's it. All right. But back before I started, Joe, it was like, I don't know if it was like it here, but it's like, what I love about Americans is, and you guys, you coaches, it's like you're so open with your methods and you come in, watch.
Most of us, not all of us.
Well,
not
what
all
I've experienced.
You still have some dicks that are like, that's private information, like they know anything more than any of us.
It's like a training secret, strength and conditioning training athlete. It's like, shit, stop it. But like before I started doing this, I remember the first week someone said, why are you doing that? You're giving away free information. I'm like, hold on a second. If I'm being transparent, not only do I grow and I'm giving away free, great training information, but the whole, like what you said before we started this, everyone grows. The whole industry grows. And that was the whole issue. No one was exposing proper scientific training methods that applied. No one was doing it. And when I came out and did it, everyone was like, who the F's this guy doing that stuff? Like, I can't believe it. And then my business just exploded. Like, within 3 months, I could add my own facility. In 3 months. But it was because of you. because I saw all these training clips, and here's a guy training high level.
There it is.
There it is. There it is.
Kristian's a little blown away by our heating system here. Every time the heat goes on, it's literally like a bomb exploding.
Going off.
Pop, boom,
Boom.
and the whole facility rattles. But so if you hear him getting shooken up a couple times, that's what it is. Just
a bit weird, but
throwing it out there. Welcome to New Jersey.
Welcome to New Jersey. And so you were putting out clips. I still remember you were putting out like these. Remember YouTube first came out, and you were putting out big guys, strong guys, jumping high, running quick, changing direction, lifting heavy, lifting submaximally quick, DEs, dynamic effort quickly. And like, here's a guy who's giving a scientific reason, but it's applied.
Yeah,
and it's not just like I kind of felt like you can only look up to academics, but here's a guy from the USA, from New Jersey, strong Jersey accent with his white, with his wife beater, his white wife beater, and here he is giving. And I'm like, this guy's insane. Like this guy's what I want to do this stuff. And then when I came back from America, this is the story I told you, Alex.
So how long were you following, like, quote unquote, my methods before you got the internship at Maryland?
I was 20. So since I was 19, so 7 years, whatever it was. 19,
okay.
6 years, whatever it was. So I followed you for a long time. And when I came back to America, I had back from America to Australia. It fired me up, like something. And Mum said to me, and I quote, this is exactly what she said. Mum said to me, literally on the drive home, "What do you want to do, Kristian? Because you've done all this stuff. What do you want to do?" And the industry still wasn't developed because I waited for so long for someone to do it, Joe.
Yeah.
So fucking long for someone to do it. I said, "You know what? I'm just going to do this, right?" And Mum said, "What do you want to do?" I said, "I want to become the Joe Defranco of Australia." And she said, "Jeffrey," who's my father, "Jeffrey, who's Joe Defranco?" He said, "I don't know." I said, "I want to become the Joe Defranco of Australia." She goes, "Who's Joe Defranco, Jeffrey?" And I still remember her saying
How
that.
dare you, Mrs. Woodford?
I still her voice. Alex knows her voice. If everyone, Alex actually came over with me. Who's a coach at Woodford. He's a fantastic. He's going to become a fantastic coach. He's developing quite well, but he's also my media guy. He's actually come over with me. So when I say Alex, he knows his story straight away.
He's my media guy for this week.
He's Joe's media guy as well. But just her way of saying it, "Who's Joe Defranco, Jeffrey?" And Dad going, "I don't fucking know." I said something, "I don't know."
That's hilarious.
That's just hilarious. And then obviously they know who you are now. Like, cause
yeah, I was going to say, have I earned the respect of the Woodford family
She
now?
did say two things. "Don't swear all the time because you shouldn't be doing that." I said, "Yes, Mum. I've only sworn 3 times this time. Hopefully it'll be 3 times only." And the second thing was always my mother. My mother always says this: "Represent Woodford very, very well." I said, "Mother, don't have to worry about that."
So is she listening right now?
She will be listening.
She will be listening.
Trust me, she
All
will
right.
listen.
Great.
Trust me, Joe, she will listen.
Shout out, Mrs. Woodford.
There we
Thank
go.
you for letting your son follow his dreams and be the next Joe Defranco. Which now, that's something I want to talk about though, because you've done it the right way, not like. I get some people that I'm flattered in that they'll say like, "Oh, you're my idol. I want to do what you do," but then they just they'll copy. I go on their website and they literally copy and paste my bio and then just change their name. And I'm like, you're 21 years old, yet you have, thousands of years of experience or thousands of hours of experience, thousands of professional athlete clients and highly sought after. I'm like, dude, you've been in the industry 6 months. Like, come on. Like you just copied and pasted. And like, even some that took my logo and just like, added an extra weight on the side. It's like, that's not how you do it. Yeah. That's plagiarism. That's copying. You've clearly, you are your own person. If I have kind of helped influence that a little bit, that's awesome. And it's flattering to me, but I think it's a good, just a little sidebar in general for younger coaches out there, like coaches from Australia that maybe idolize you now.
Yep.
That's awesome. I had coaches that I looked up to, but you have to be yourself, put your own spin on it. You could almost copy more. Like if you want to copy me, copy things like my work ethic and my values, but don't copy don't copy my logo, the content on my website, my videos. Like that's not the way you go about it.
Just one thing on that, I think that imagery is flattery. I'm flattered when people do that, and I'm sure you're flattered as well. But at the same time, we're not saying that you can't be passionate about that, but I think you need to have exactly what you said. You still got to have your own spin on it. I remember early days, someone said to me, "Would Joe Defranco do that?" to me, right? and I did something stupid like I normally would. I'm still young. I'm still young learning. Remember that. I'm 32. I'm not 40. Not saying you're old. Not saying you're old. Not saying you're old.
Yeah.
But he's been in the game. His experience is one of a kind. That's why when the guy, and I hate blowing smoke up people's ass, but you've been doing it 20 years. You've shown that you can get results, right? There's a difference from me. I've been on 13 years. I respect you. Just your experience is just next level, and that will show in results. And for everyone out there, I don't mind that if you're, inspired by me or inspired by Joe, but at the same time, you don't want to fucking plonk his training systems to what you do and only act like Joe Defranco, only act like me. I remember the kids early on, my interns would try to act like me.
Yeah.
I am who I am. And I remember someone saying to me, if I go back to my story without going full circle here, but someone said that, would Joe Defranco do that? And I said, well, no, probably not, because Joe Defranco's older than me and he's got kids. And Joe Defranco's his own person. I am Kristian Woodford. I am who I am.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make my mistakes, but I'm going to learn. And I don't look at things as a mistake. I look at it as a learning curve.
Always.
So just don't just try and plonk his logo or my training systems and think that you can do it. Have your own way of doing things, Methods are many, principles are a few. Apply principles and then refine your methods as we go. I mean, if I look back to how I started, I hinged my guys, I squatted my guys, I did some sort of push-pulling. They actually, one thing that you'll love is, and this is one thing I can tell you I got from you, and I tell people all the time I got it from you because I'm a big pay-it-forward guy, is heavy-ass sled drags and heavy prowler pushes. Now, when I went through uni, there was this dick there, right? And he was a dick teacher. And I said to him, my first year, I said, I'm a big Joe Defranco fan. And you know how people hate on everyone. Like, people hate on me. People are going to hate on you. And I said, listen, I'm a big fan of Joe Defranco. He's got heavy-ass sled pushes because we know acceleration is correlated with relative strength in terms of stride length. We know that it's about applying force to the ground. We know ground contact times are longer, so it's like what I call a special strength training exercise, not a specific. And it teaches the athlete, especially heavy prowler pushes or the sled drags. It puts them on a specific joint angle. It teaches them to apply force to the ground during that specific leg pattern. Position, knee over the toe, applying force down and back in the ground. I've loved that for years, Joe. And I got that from you. Man.
Yeah.
And I've had tremendous results with it. Like, man, I've had kids. And when you get kids and they're novices, you can do anything. Just get them stronger bilaterally with squatting and deadlifting, sagittal plane movements, and we know they're going to get quicker. But I've got my guys quicker off guys who have intermediate, even you'd say borderline advanced. I've got them quicker off that.
Yes.
And remember how they used to always say, and I've used this before, train quick, get quick. But if you teach them to understand that position, that steep forward lean, that positive shin angle, that applying force on the ground, development of the posterior chain, I got that from you. And there's something that I use from you which gets my athletes quicker. And then even I use a complex, contrast training.
Yeah, contrast.
We do a heavy prowler push, a heavy sledge drag, which I got from you. And we'll have 45 seconds to a minute off, depending on how highly trained the individual is, the athlete is. And then I integrate it with an unloaded sprint to get that specific motor patterning in terms of the nervous system. And I've had tremendous results. So there's something I've got from you where back in the day, my teacher, my lecturer would say, this bullshit 10% rule.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That 10% rule. And now which I love, and I love how you did it. When you talked about, hey, I remember back in the day, everyone said don't go more than 10% body weight. But look what happened with the research.
Now the research caught up.
F you, I knew I was right because the coaches are in front of the science. Not saying the science is not important, but a lot of people used to come to me and be like, but I read whatever, Ethan All 2008 said don't do this. Well, I'm a coach. I'm ahead of the curve. We have to try something.
Yeah, and just because you read something, because I read that stuff too, but it was one of those things, because I read this one study with 12 athletes done over 6 weeks, and it's saying this, I've now done this for, at that time, 10, 12 years with 100+ athletes, intermediate to higher level, more advanced, and it works every time. Yeah. I have real concrete evidence, results, fully electronic sprint times to prove this. Do I not do that because there's a research study with a couple kids that didn't, it doesn't make sense. Yeah. So it is nice when the research kind of catches up and you could say, haha, I told you so. But to me, it never mattered. To me, all that mattered was the opinions of the athletes that I actually trained. Their opinions mattered because they actually knew me, they knew my passion, and they knew the results that they got. They know what they were when they showed up, and they know what they were when they left. Yep. If I spoke at a seminar or a clinic with some doctor or some researcher that looked at me as like the meathead who isn't up to date on the research, I won't say it never bothered me in the beginning. It bothered me a little because everybody wants to be respected, especially when you work your ass off. But I will say, thankfully, and I guess that's where I take after my dad a little bit more, where I always had that attitude like, fuck you. I don't care. If you don't like me, you think I'm stupid, you don't think it works, that's great. But and I respect a lot of those people are smarter than me, like book smarts wise. They would talk about shit. Yeah, they would talk about shit that some of it I couldn't comprehend, but I know you give me, if we had two twin kids, you take one, I take one, I'm getting better results than you, and that's all. That's what I do for a living. That's all that matters.
But shouldn't that all that matter? Why are we in this stage now where
yes, that's all that should matter. That was my thing. Like, okay, but this kid just got drafted in the first round and made a couple $1 million. So obviously we did something right. Yeah. Like he ran this 40 when he came to me, and then he was 0.2 faster. Right. He jumped 3.5 inches higher. Like, he got better, and that's all that matters. Whether it's backed up by someone else's research who doesn't have a quarter of the real world experience that I have. Some shit I do is backed by tons of research. Some shit isn't. But who cares at the end of the day? All that should matter is
results.
The results that you get.
Clients,
but people still don't. But again, it's a jealousy thing or whatever. Like you'll still have the naysayers that are like, "Well, you can't prove the results. They got better in spite of what you did." You know, like there's always gonna. But you can't let that bother you. Like that's why I say, at this point in my life, the only opinions that matter are people that actually, my family, the people that live under the roof, my immediate family, and the athletes that have trained with me longer than, a day. Not people who come in and look at the gym for a day. Like people that have trained with Joe Defranco for 6 weeks, 6 years, 16 years. Those are the people that I care about their opinion because they know what really goes on here.
Well, there was a woman in here just before when I met her, a lovely woman. She's trained with you since 2003.
Yes, shout out Nadania.
Nadania and her son. She was talking about her son might come over to Australia. So, perfect.
Do you know? I don't want to give out her age, but you know how old she is?
No,
She's in her 50s.
No,
running like the wind, explosive AF. She competes in. Masters track and field, sprinter, but she does these track and field events all over the world. Well, she sprints and does well. 60 meters, 100 meters. Yeah, Cameron works with her now, but yeah, she's a stud. But anyway,
says a lot though about.
But yeah, that so to your point, that the fact that if you saw Nadania West in the streets today and said, "Oh wow, you trained with Joe Defranco, what do you think of him?" Her opinion matters to me.
Should only matter.
Not researcher guy who doesn't think fucking heavy sled drags work.
Ooh, Mum, just quickly, Mum, that's twice he said fuck. So
I think that's my first time.
No,
I usually don't drop the F-bomb.
Twice. See what happens when the Australians here?
You have a bad influence on me. Go. See, now I'm trying to be like you. I shouldn't. I got to be myself. I don't drop F-bombs.
Quickly, let me just. I'll finish this story off because I just want to tell everyone the story how I actually got here. So. Obviously, Joe's a big idol. I saw him. I started Woodfords. Listen, I would not be here. And listen, I would not be here without Joe. So I kind of just started Woodfords. It kind of exploded quite quickly because, as I said to you, Joe, there was no industry. It blew up. I started, and this is a shout out to your actually wife. And I know your wife's been on the show. So Ashley Defranco,
yes.
I wish if you're actually here, I'd thank you in person.
I'm going to record this and show it to her when I get home because she likes to. She doesn't get much praise from me, she would say.
Okay, so I just appreciate this is for Ashley. Thank you very much because what happened. Listen, Joe. Just to let you know, Joe. I probably emailed you a lot of times, and Joe has never got back to me. So I'm like a guy who just kind of goes different ways about it. So I actually wrote in Defranco on Facebook, and this woman came up. And she looked like a Jersey woman. Not being stereotypical.
So funny.
Not being. I don't want to be stereotypical, but looked like a Jersey woman.
No, she's very Jersey or New York,
Jersey. Anyway, and then you hear her talk, and she's very Jersey. Coffee or take my coffee.
Coffee. You can't even do it wrong.
Coffee. And I actually wrote to her my full story. This is before I met you, right?
So you're not even are you not 100% sure? You just see Ashley DeFranco looks kind of Jersey,
yeah.
But you're not even 100% sure at this point that she's my.
No, I kind of thought I'd just take a risk here. What's the worst can happen? This woman goes, "Can you piss off? I don't know who you are. Some Australian message. We get away." But thank God she wrote back, and Ashley, she wrote back straight away. It was fantastic, so I really appreciate it. But the fantastic thing what Ash did was she not only told you, she put it as a status and tagged me in it, which is fantastic. I really appreciated that. And then you saw it and you wrote back, I want to stay in contact with you, right? So
now I do. On Facebook.
On Facebook.
Yes,
and you're not
I do
really
remember
a Facebook
that.
Guy, really. You're
no,
more,
but back then I was a little bit more. Now I'm not on Facebook
you're
as much. But
more Instagram and Twitter.
Yes, more almost all Instagram now. But that was actually smart on Ashley's part because she knows she talks a lot at home, and she knows a lot of things she says goes in one ear and out the other.
Yep.
So she was probably like, if I just tell Joe, hey, get back to this guy, definitely you would have a better chance than just emailing me randomly. So that was smart. But she also knew how much, like, I use Facebook for my business. So
yep.
if somebody tags me in something, especially my wife, I'm going to see it.
Yep.
So that was probably her way of saying, in case he's not paying attention to me when he comes home from work, I'll post it on Instagram, on Facebook, and I know he'll see that, and then at least all of his other friends / followers will see it. That was actually very good on her part. I will give her credit for that.
You should give her credit. And from that point, that's kind of when you kind of knew about me, and I remember going to your CPPS in Texas. So
yes.
So this is the third time I've been to America, and the second time I went with a big shout out to my boy Jay Ellis, who's a CPPS graduate as well. Jay Ellis, my 2IC at Woodford. Fantastic. We went to your CPPS level 1, and I remember, and I've told everyone the story about this. I walked up to you in a room, and I remember that we're talking to you, and I stuttered. I've never been nervous in front of anyone. You can ask anyone. I've never been nervous in my life. I reckon I stuttered 3 words to him. You.
Yeah.
3 words. I stuttered. I've never stuttered in my life. I've gone, what the fuck was that? Stuttering in front of you. But when you got an idol, it's hard to communicate. Now it's like talking to you.
I was like that the first time when I met Louis Simmons. Same thing. And it's just I looked up to him, and I was just, you watch him on. To me, I was watching him on these VHS tapes, and then next thing you know, I walk into West Side Barbell, and he's just there, doing standing ab pull downs, and he like said hello to me, and I was like, "Oh shit, I'm going to talk to Louis Simmons." It's just, and so I get. It's I'm a humble guy, so it's like I'm not always so comfortable with people saying that, but it is. I appreciate it, and I understand it though, because I had that guy that I looked up to, or a couple that I looked up to. So it's a cool thing. But I never had any problems talking to anybody either. But like that conversation with Louis, I don't think it was my best either. It was like, nice to meet you, and I probably walked away after he said hello. Like shit, so many things I wanted to ask him. But anyway,
I think my thing was the fact that I came all the way across the world to see it, and the first thing I said to you was, "I was the guy who messaged your wife." And thank God,
you son of a bitch.
Thank God you remember, because I'm thinking to myself, oh shit.
That came out wrong.
Imagine that came out wrong. But I walked up to you in a room of people. There's 40 coaches. And then Jay's face was like this.
Yeah, that was the wrong way to put it.
And I'm like, oh, Joe, I'm the guy who messaged your wife. And thank God you said, I remember you, Kristian.
Yes.
You remember me.
Yes, I did.
It went like, Jay reckons a few of the coaches turn around and go, what, like this? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, if I could have been like, why are you telling me that? Ashley, get the hell out of this guy.
What the hell are you doing, Ashley? You messed me up. But thank God you remember. And then I remember talking to you at the CPS. It was just fantastic, the CPPS, because meeting the other coaches. And listen, this is a shameless plug for the level 1. And I normally wouldn't do this, but I'll be honest, and you've got another coach here. Everyone, Smitty sends all these, and shout out to Smitty, he sends all the Australian guys to talk to me, right? So he'll just go talk to Woody, talk to Kristian, because he'll tell you, listen, it's probably he's the best cert I've ever done, just because, and not only for you, like I met you, that's cool and all, but just to meet the other coaches was awesome as well. Because we had 3 Texan strength and conditioning coaches there as well. The Texas,
the Houston Texans. That was Sean Hayes, who is now the WWE strength and conditioning coach.
They were fantastic. So
to me, that's almost as hard as Smitty and I have worked on the curriculum of that course and the level 2 and continuing to have it evolve. We're super proud of it, but to me, the true value in that course is you have lifelong relationships with all those other coaches. Not only your class, if you take the class with 20, 30 other coaches, though you'll always be maybe the tightest and keep in contact with those guys, but you just instantly you gain a network of now we're close to 1,000 coaches worldwide. They're like, that's how when Triple H came to me and said we're looking for a legit head strength and conditioning coach to run the WWE Performance Center. Yeah. First thing I think of, okay, CPPS, who's the top coach from Florida. Oh, shit, that dude Sean, who's with the Texans, is from Florida. He's a WWE fan. Just took the level 1 course. I know he's gung-ho and he knows his shit and he loves wrestling on top of it. Like, but before I didn't have to put out like an announcement or go searching. It's like pulled from within that family. And now if somebody contacted me and said, hey, I'm a young aspiring strength and conditioning coach in Australia, not ready to open up my own facility, where do you recommend? Like, we're going to send them to you. That's the value in that, sir. So I appreciate you saying that, because we did. That was the goal day one when the idea was brought up. It's like, man, if we could have this community of
like-minded people,
the top like-minded people, we could leave a legacy and really change the game long after we're both gone.
The only thing I can say about this, and I've told you this before, I don't know why we don't have I know it's everyone used the word, but like a summit where we all
we're going to do it.
You said because that last time.
No, we're working on it.
You are?
Yes, because you said it again. I think on
I've said it like
Instagram
3
or
times
something.
now. I said let's do it, and I'll be the first one there.
Yes, I think everyone would be. It's just one of the, and it's not an excuse. It's just everybody has a ton of shit going on, busy. It is a huge undertaking to put something like that together. Yeah. But it's to the level now. I think this cert has been around for like 7-8 years. Like we need to have that.
Can I speak at it?
Of course, you would be on the short list of top coaches that pop into my head when I think of like the first 5. I will tell you right now, you would be up there.
There we go.
Yes.
How many? Yes. How many we got? 1,000 now.
Close. I don't think we're there yet, but like by the end of this year, we'd have 1,000. If it's not 1,000, we're in the 800 range. And like, I mean, there's some good coaches doing big things. Like it's a good group,
and it's from all around the world though. Because I remember my cert, my one, we had Germany, Guatemala, Australia. Man, it's not just...
I think we have over 20 different countries represented at this point. Yeah, it started out, shout out to Smitty on that one, because I was the guy, and it's still my biggest fault, is like always the guy that's too busy to have the fucking summit that we want to have.
That's true.
I know, my bad. Freaking summit.
Anita, do you hear
that? That was when I was like so engrossed in the gym and just... Every second I was training somebody or, gym. And I remember getting that call from Smitty, like, man, what we should do a certification. And he just made me like commit to it. Like, don't just say you'll do it with me.
Yeah.
Like, let's put all of our stuff together. We have at that point 40 plus years of combined experience. So many people looked up to us. Like, let's develop our own network. 'Cause we both had, I was CSCS certified, NSCA personal trainer, NASM advanced level, ACE when I was in college because it was easy and quick to get. Like, I had every certification under the sun. Yeah. None of them helped me become a better coach. I had a whole bunch of shit on my walls. You walked into my first office, I thought I was cool with all my certs, and then it's all in a box right now, and that got replaced with athletes and real life kind of experience stuff. And we just thought, like, why not come up? Why does a certification have to be that thing where you study for it just to pass it, to get that degree on the wall, and then you kind of forget about it because then you have to learn how to coach? How about if we come up with a certification that teaches people how to freaking coach? And
but don't you think? Look, this is for every cert, but I think when they get them to do like a short answer thing or like a question answer, whatever it is, I think the big issue is it's subjective based on the markers. In terms of what they believe in, right? But what I liked about yours, and I'm not just saying this, but I really liked it because it made me a better coach. It's the application of knowledge that's so important. And a lot of young coaches, they forget it. It's the It's half art, half science. What we do is an art and a science. Yes, we work off a scientific framework, but the ability to coach, you can have all the knowledge in the world, but if you can't apply it out there, it's kind of useless, isn't it? Really?
100% useless.
So my thing, which I loved about yours, was you get all these coaches who are like-minded and passionate, and we're throwing back and forth. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Because the issue with our industry, and I would love to know what you think about this, Joe, is there's no perfect template for anyone, really, because what individualization, what works for A won't work for B. What works for B won't work for C. But at the same time, you've got to be working towards a basic framework and then picking and choosing, and you've got to be able to adapt to every situation.
Yeah, and that's why, if you remember, I'm sure you do, the cert concludes with the program design portion isn't like West Side for Skinny Bastards is our Strong Bastard 911 is the program that we do. No, the program design portion is this is the thought process behind developing your own program.
Yep.
Here's some principles. Remember this. Here's a template. Use this, but then go to the gym and apply it, to your clients, your needs, each individual. Not like on Monday we do this and on Tuesday do this. That's what a lot of certs do, and then you have to forget that because that doesn't work for your client, your athlete.
I think the big thing which I really liked, and humility is a big thing. And my mother always says I've got to work on it. I am working. I'm still young. I understand that, but what I really liked about it was.
You need a little swagger. That's all right.
You do need to do what we do.
But being humble is important,
It's very important, and I agree.
Fine line between having that little swagger and confidence, but still being humble and a good person, and just being a cocky prick.
Yeah,
don't be a cocky dick.
That's in the jersey. Don't be a cocky dick.
Shout out to Bobby Maximus, former guest on the show. Yeah. One of his best quotes was, "Don't be a dick."
I think that. When you guys started when we first came in, and Smitty said, "I can learn off you just much you can learn off me," and what I really liked about it was it's not this is the only way of doing things. My way is the only thing of doing things. So when I do and once again shout out to Jay when I do my thing with Jay, and we always say Jay, Smitty, I'm Joe. It's just an ongoing joke we always have. Because he really loves Smitty. And I remember him saying to me, Smitty said to me, I deadlifted for days. And he still brings this up to this day. Smitty said to Jay, because Jay gets in a real nice position when he deadlifts. And Smitty goes, God, you could deadlift for days. Just obviously saying he deadlifts well. Do you know what I mean? And then I remember you guys saying, and I say this a lot, is my way is not the only way. It's just what works for me.
Yes.
You might take A, B, and C, but might not like how I set up for a squat. Or you might not like how I box squat or deadlift. I like trap barring. That's fine.
Yeah.
But just understand, I'm just going to teach you how I do it, and there's plenty other ways to do it. There's many ways to skin a cat, as I always say.
Yes.
This is how we do it. And I really like the humility how you guys said that.
And I don't think there's a fine line there. I think people are paying us because obviously they want our opinion because we have that experience. So we give that, but we always leave that little bit open-ended where I don't think enough, or maybe any, at least there's no other certs that I know of that do that. Like, even when they teach a specific exercise, like they'll teach you how to barbell squat and they'll say, this is how you teach the squat. Yeah. We say, here's what we do with most of our first-time clients. This is what works for us. Here's the coaching cues we like the best. But I don't think a cert has gone by without one of the attendees, or whoever you want to call them, the coaches that are taking the course, give some information and share something. They might say, oh, well, I use this coaching cue. And Smitty and I will go, ooh, that's a good one. We're going to add that to the cert. We're going to write that down. Yeah. Or, with stance, cause and I think it's so engraved in people's heads because there will be a lot of coaches will come to our cert and say, well, how wide should your feet be? Like they want like inches. Like, is it 26 inches apart, or your hand spacing on a bar when you squat? Like, it depends on your limb length, how much muscle they have, how many times have they squatted. Like, we could give you general guidelines and stuff that will work with the 90-plus percentile, but we don't do that. This is how you squat and it's the only way, or this is how you deadlift. Shit, we even talk about you might not squat you might not barbell back squat with a client, like Mike Boyle talks about. Yeah. That's fine too, because at the end of the day, results are all that should matter. Yeah. And I hope that's what we've really, we get that point across with the cert, and it sounds like we do. And I think that's what separates.
Do you know what grinds my gears? This could go around in circles. Do you guys use grinds my gears?
Yeah, grind my gears.
Do you know what grinds my gears? Pisses me off is people who say this is the only way of doing things, and the squat is the perfect example, right? So why?
It's insane to only have one way to squat. By the way, with all the different body types and people out there, it's insane.
But why is it that in this industry we always Jesus Christ.
Oh, I thought you were going to be able to fight through it.
No, I nearly did it.
The
Why is it that we always have to start, when we think of a squat, we always start on the most advanced progression with a barbell on their back?
Yeah.
Why do we always start with that?
I don't know. We don't. That's why the first day of our cert, we don't even bring out a barbell. It's body weight. It's hip hinge,
drop straight down,
and then there's even progressions to hip hinge. And then it's a goblet squat and
front
et cetera.
squat,
Front squat to a box with your body weight, then squat to a box with a kettlebell, and we do that to try to get people out of that mindset of okay, got a new client, got to teach them how to squat. Because yes, is it important to teach a human being, whether they're an athlete or your grandmother, how to bend their knees and pick something up off the ground, squat or deadlift? Yeah, that's important. But is it important, and is it mandatory to do that with a barbell on your back? No. I've told this a million times. The first year that the New York Giants won the Super Bowl, Dave Deal did not have a barbell on his back. He's 6'6.5", and he had previous back surgery in college. Never looked great squatting, although he got pretty good at box squatting slightly above parallel, which was all he needed at his height and his levers. It was fine, but during the course of the in-season that year, he just felt like he didn't want to take a chance. He felt like it made his back feel tight. So we worked around it. We did other things to strengthen his low back.
Yep.
And we dragged and pushed heavy friggin' sleds, did a whole bunch of Bulgarian split squats, and he friggin' had a Super Bowl ring and an all-pro season, to show for it. So, and then the dude standing right next to him on the line loved to barbell squat. Not a guy that trained with me, but there, some other guys on the team were a little shorter, more like I'll say squatty physique, and they were fine barbell squatting throughout the season. So the point being, everybody's different, and if you're going to be a freaking good trainer / coach, you need to understand that. Don't try to. What's the expression? Try to square peg in a round hole, whatever the hell it is.
But if you think about when you Bulgarian heavy, you can get a strength stimulus off that.
100%, especially with a barbell or a heavy dumbbell, I hate the term functional, but the other things that go along with it, like the hip mobility, the
stabilization as well,
stabilization, your ankle, your foot. The core strength, if you offset the loading and just hold one dumbbell or one kettlebell,
anti-lateral flexion,
it's amazing exercise. Again, if you are a power lifter and you have to barbell back squat as your sport, probably more. You got to figure out a way to fucking excuse me.
Oh, wait,
freaking! I said freaking.
4-4 now.
Freaking
Anita
Woodford, back
did
squat.
you hear that? I might talk to your mother now. Lucy Defranco.
Oh, I hope my mom's not listening. Oh, she's going to be listening.
Lucy, you better listen to this now.
She's going to love you.
What'd your old man say?
Yeah, well, my dad doesn't. He curses a lot, but he doesn't drop the F-bomb. Believe it or not, that's like swear word, bad word. Never heard of that? Cursing. Yeah. So anyway, but yeah, he did, believe it or not. I try not to. You brought out the F-bomb.
I brought out the best.
So you still haven't done the social media barrage that got you on the show.
Okay. So
an hour in, you haven't told how you got here.
I told you this is going to be a long one.
There've been a lot of good stuff so far. So it's great.
What's happened is, Jesus Christ, have I gone for an hour already?
Yeah. Yeah,
you got to stop me. But that's you and I together.
But no, but it's good stuff. I'd stop you if it wasn't good stuff. It's all good stuff. It's a funny story of how you got here. So I don't even give a shit if we end the show with it. It's just I just want to make sure you get back on it at some point.
So what happened was, I just knew that you were going to write back to me, and I said I'm not going to go through Ash again. I'm poor Ash. I just didn't want to go through your Ashley Defranco once again. I didn't want to go through it. So I said, we did this video, and I pretty much called you out. And I remember you were going to put the title "Calling Out Joe Defranco." I said, "Don't put the title "Calling Out Joe Defranco."
That would have been good, though. That's a good attention grabber.
Yeah, but I'm not going to call you out when you're in my. This is stupid. Anyway,
Jim Wendler wrote that article, "Why I Hate Joe Defranco," and it was just a random article. We did a seminar together, and it was just a random article. It was like a joke to get people to read the article, okay. Well, look, and a lot of people read it.
We could have done it, but I'm just not going to call.
I respect that.
So what happened was, I just came out and said, "Put me on your show. I don't care. I'll leave tomorrow. I just want to be on your show," because I've told you I've got life goals. Every one of my life goals I've pretty much ticked in the last 6 years. So this is I've had my first 3 years I killed it in terms of business. The last 3 years been very hard. I've shut down a lot of facilities. I just haven't enjoyed it as much. The next 4 until my 10-year birthday, I want to go enjoy it again. So when I see you've gone full circle, you've got your own small facility again, I kind of understand why you've done it, because I'm an owner as well, a business owner as well. Even though I got into like you, I got into this to be a coach, not to be a business owner. I'm a reluctant business owner.
Yes,
I'm guessing that's you as well. So
is that when you say, not to get you off on another tangent, but when you say you haven't enjoyed it as much, is it the growing pains that came? It's like that double-edged sword that you have become one of the most, if not the most well-known private sector coach in Australia. So you become, the facility gets bigger, it gets more popular, you get more athletes, you have to hire more people, more problems, et cetera. So is that what hasn't been as enjoyable? You're not doing as much coaching, or is it something else?
I just think that people think that you have a bigger gym and it's better. It's actually not. I just kind of felt like people came to me and they didn't really care about me. They just wanted to get a piece of me, or actually use my name to increase. Surely you've been through that. I talk to you about this. Surely you, out of all people, and this is not to be disrespectful to anyone, but a lot of people see you doing something right and they want to be a part of it.
Yep.
And I kind of felt like they wanted to use my name to grow. And it's like, well, I've just invested, I'll be honest, over $300,000 with my father, and I see how close you and your dad are, and that's like me and my dad. He still works in the business. He's the CFO, Jeff Woodford.
Oh, okay.
I love my old man, and then just to kind of see that, it's not. I would never do that to someone. Like, I always want to pump them up as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I actually, like you, I promote a lot of my friends, a lot of people in the industry, but I kind of felt like a lot of people just using my name to get somewhere, or them make some money, and I wouldn't get anything back. And it really did kill me, man. I'm not a very good business owner, Joe. I'm a coach like you, but I'm trying to learn it.
Yeah.
I started this at 25. You started Defranco's at 27.
Yep.
I didn't know anything about tax. I didn't know anything about the back end. Like, I don't know if you knew. You might know a little bit more.
I learned
on the job.
On the job when I had to.
Yeah. So when people have a crack at me, it's always like, well, hold on a second. I was 25. What do I know about life?
Yeah.
No, I took it very hard when people, what's the word? When people screwed me over.
Yes.
It was like, I took that like a real hurt thing. But I'm real good at telling everyone else what to do in their business. But when it comes to mine, I'm too emotional. So hence why I've got a team around me now to help me.
Yes.
But I've been screwed over by that before. Not many people know about what happened when I had a CFO and I gave them equity in my company. I had a CFO and a business development manager, which I won't say their names. And they really screwed us over hard. And we're still getting back to the point, which we're good now. But it still hurts you. You know what I mean?
Big
it still
time.
Hurts you.
Unfortunately, I feel like almost... I don't think I've ever met a successful business owner who didn't go through that. Like everybody, it seems like everybody gets that major like friend or business associate that screws you over like that. It's like you got to go through that tough time, and then you come out stronger and better on the other side, and more educated, and you take the necessary steps so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But like that happened. My two best friends were my first two personal trainers when my business grew. And they went literally down the street and opened up a gym down the street and took all their a couple stayed with me, but for the most part, all their clients, many of which I gave to them.
That were your two best
friends. I had
friends.
two employees that were also my best friends. After a year or two in the business and seeing it grow, I don't know if it was a jealousy thing, which was always weird because it's like Defranco's the name on the door. But I almost and that's what I learned is. I almost feel like I treated them too good. I never acted like the boss. It was our gym, our facility. We're growing. But yeah, I was the owner because I did this 10 years prior to them coming and joining the team. But anyway, after a year or two, I've kind of told this story, I think, briefly here and there. But the bottom line was,
do you talk to them anymore?
Oh no, we don't talk to this day, and that was. Like 2006, 2007.
That would have hurt you a lot, though.
Well, and that's my point. Like that shit hurt. As you could put on the tough guy image, like screw them, I don't care. No, it hurts. And when you work your ass off on building something, and then they just automatically think like, well, half of this should be ours. Like and if not, we're leaving and we're taking and that hurt my business for a while because when you have two employees. And they both just don't show up one day, and they're literally like I could throw a rock and hit their gym. They're down the road training all the people that were training at your gym, and the high school kids that they're training, they don't know It's like, hey, I like these guys. They
Yeah.
say they're going to do the quote unquote same thing down the street. Joe's going to stay here. Joe doesn't train me anyway. Like, I work with these guys, so I'll just go down the street with them. Like, I lost probably, I don't remember, and that's the part of me that I think came out better and stronger. I just knew in my heart and my head, they don't have my work ethic. They don't have my knowledge. They don't have my drive.
They're not going to be consistent like you.
They're not going to make it long
No, they're not going to make it at all.
For a year or so, they made a dent. They made some noise. They tried. Oh, we're better than Joe. We do the same thing, but we will do it for cheaper. Yeah. I had a strongman competition that was like grew into this legendary thing. They tried to copy it. And 3 years later, they went out of business. Is the bottom line. But my point being, well, I don't know the specifics of your story, but I feel like you got to go through that.
Yeah.
And now I was a little more careful, and I also learned a lot about myself. I don't want to have a big, like my way of growing. I thought the only way you could do it is you have a bigger gym or more employees.
Yeah.
I'm not good. I don't like doing that because I become too close with them and we become friends, and then I give and that's my fault. I guess I give almost like a false sense of, oh yeah, you've been here for 6 months, like this is all yours.
It's all yours. Don't worry about
like
it.
You're my, because I think it's treating people with respect, and I always prided myself on, I treated the cleaning service, the intern, the 5-year trainer at my gym, the 5-day trainer at my gym, all the same. Like I was brought up. Yep. They're human beings. I don't give a shit if they're working for $5 an hour or they're making $500 grand a year. You treat them the same. Somehow, I don't know. Maybe I did it wrong, but somehow that always seemed to get lost in translation. And I said, you know what? Maybe I'm just not good. I'm good at helping people. I'm maybe not good at helping people grow within a company. So let me grow my business, my brand, and help more people via a certification, a podcast, some private coaching with a smaller group of people. Let me grow by not having to have 10, 12, 15 trainers, because clearly I'll put it on myself. I wasn't good at it because people are leaving. They're going, I think I was just honestly too nice, and it just wasn't my thing. So that's why I'm where I'm at right now. And hopefully that helps some people, that shows you that there is different ways to grow in this industry. Just how I helped a lot of people give hope to like kids like yourself who maybe didn't have enough money or didn't think they had a big enough space. Like I showed, hey, I was training pro athletes out of a storage closet. You could do this out of your garage, out of your back of your truck. Just how I helped people, thousands of people worldwide follow their dreams that way. If you realize this whole business thing isn't really managing people and having a big staff and managing that, if that's not your thing, there's now with social media and podcasting and consulting, like there's so many different ways you could expand your reach and help people without having a staff of 100 people. Hopefully I help people realize that. Or if I know guys also that love that, like, oh, I love staff development and helping people grow and giving them a career and watching them grow and, growing businesses. I almost love that more than I love training now. If that's you, then that's awesome. Franchise your gym, whatever, get a bigger gym. Awesome. That wasn't my love. Yeah. That's why we're sitting in a 1,000 square foot facility right now instead of a 10,000 square foot facility. But that's my little business rant. But I think it's important because I know a lot of people that follow you probably they're going to go through that. They're going to go through it with their business, that tough time, and then you wonder, where the hell do I go from here?
Just quickly, those two people, what we call wankers in Australia, those two, they're wankers.
I have heard of wankers.
No, they're wankers. So for them to do that is disgusting, number one. But I think that for me, Joe, I don't look at the last 3 years as bad. I look as a learning curve. So exactly
100%.
So like I'll be honest here, I got in this business. I'm very what's the word for it? Very naive. I used to believe everyone. This guy comes to me. I'm going to give you. I remember what he said to me, and I still remember this. This guy said to me, he goes, "Oh, my business. You know how the snake oil salesman. You've met them. Oh, our business turns over 20 million." And Dad and I are sitting there like, I'm naive. Dad's been in business before.
This guy wants to give me money and make my facility grow. Oh, this is awesome.
And I thought this was great. I'm thinking, this is great. He goes, we're going to turn this and this. And everything he said he was going to do, he didn't do. And I don't know, it just broke me for a while, like in terms of like, here's an adult male with 2 kids.
Yeah.
And he's saying this, and he's not, I just work ethic of people. He's like, I'll give you an example. Like, what those 2 did to you is just typical. What they want to do is they'll jump on your brand and they'll be like, oh, we can do what Joe can do because Joe does it. No one has any idea how hard you work to create a brand awareness. Is so hard in our industry.
Yes.
And especially in America, it would be a flooded industry like Australia. But to create brand awareness and create such a trusted brand like Defranco's is so fucking hard. And the hours you put into it, and they have no idea, but the one thing that they had that the one thing they didn't have that you have is deep understanding, passion, love for what you do and your clients' results, but knowledge. And that's something those 2 dickheads would never know. So
yeah, I appreciate you saying that. And I'm to the point now, it's so long. Like if I saw them walking down the street, I'd say, hey, what's up?
I'd call them, you know what? I'd say wankers. If you told me who they were, I'd go, you're wankers.
But I just knew it was funny because the one I had, the one just didn't show up. And then I ran in the last conversation I had with the one guy who was the better worker, that I was like, man, why are you doing this? Like, you're letting, like, he was doing great. He was making money. And I tried to explain to him, like, I guess when you're in it, to your point, you show up and there's people in your schedule and there's people from all over the world coming to the gym and we have a packed schedule and everybody respects you and moms are coming in and handing you money. And it's like, I'll just go down the street. Why do I need Joe? He's not here a lot. Like, that's when the brand was starting to grow. So I wasn't at the gym every second. I was growing the brand. Yeah. So, and which helped people continue to want to come to Defranco's. But a lot of, narrow-minded people just see, oh, I'm training a bunch of people. Like, I'll just buy the same equipment he has, and I'll go down the street and do it. Why should I give him a percentage of my sessions? Yeah. And that worked. You fool people. You go down the street.
That fools people only so long.
The Defranco clients that you met through the gym went with you because they go, oh yeah, I like training with him. He was good. I gave them my stamp of approval the previous 2 years. So it's like, all right, we'll go do that. And then you have to create your own brand awareness. Now you can't just live off the scraps of what you got from leaving my gym. Now it's like, create your own brand awareness, make people want to come train with you and develop that kind of respect and name. And when that happened, like when they needed that, it fizzled. Yeah. That's what I think it was about 3 years. Yeah. It just kind of fizzled out. One moved, the other one, and it just
always happens.
But you need to, I think, and for you younger trainers out there listening, listen, you pay attention to this, because if you're working at another facility right now, you might have that mindset like, oh, what am I doing here? Like, screw this, I'll go do it on my own. And I would never tell someone not to, because I worked at a gym and I left to go on my own. But I like to think I did it the right way. Right. There was a reason. I obviously was able to develop my own brand, but it's not always, it's not easy. Like, make sure you are ready. There's a lot more to it. It's not for everyone. Don't just think, oh, my boss makes a lot more money, so I'm going to go down the street and I'm going to train people myself because I want to make more money. That you'll probably make less than you are making now working for someone else with twice, 3, 4 times the amount of work. You can't shut it off. You can't go home. You can't take weekends off. So just think long and hard. The grass is not
always greener.
This is coming from 2 guys who have, quote unquote, at 2 different generations, but have, quote unquote, made it in the industry and are well respected and well known, telling you this. So
I think that you bring up a fair point. It's always interesting. And this is nothing against my staff, but a lot of staff I've dealt with always, I don't know if you've dealt with this, but it's always funny talking to actually guys who have created a brand and how hard it is to do it, and you work your ass off, and this is not 9 to 5. This is 24 hours, 7 days a week. If the lights are on, you've got to turn them off because you're paying for them. This is not oh, someone else will do it. No, you've got to do it yourself sometimes.
Yep.
No, this is you. This is not something you can go away from.
It's 24/7.
But a lot of staff have come in and they've had it easy with me, and they've gone, oh, well, fuck, hold on a second, I can do what he's doing. That's easy. And I'm sit there, and Jay and I always, because Jay's my 2IC, and Jay's been so loyal, and another one of my guys, Jason Davies, who's been so loyal. So there's I've got guys who it's my father. If we have meetings, it's my father, Jeff Woodford. It's Jason Davies, who's like the operations manager. It's Jay Ellis, who's like my 2IC, and now I've got a PA now, just because I don't get back to people in time.
Yeah, that's a good hire, one I should have had years ago.
Yeah, have you got a PA?
No, right now, but I'm working on 2019.
Yeah. I just think what happened, I got a bit overwhelmed with it. So
Yes.
Kieran, my housemate, so shout out to Kieran, she's come on board as my PA. So they'll all be in the meeting.
Ashley's like kind of my.
I was going to say, wouldn't Ash be yours?
We've technically that is my. She'd hate for me to say the word assistant, but yeah, she's the one. Technically, she works, in the business, answering emails, getting back to people. But even, she's also, we have 2 kids, and I need a real hired person, because unfortunately, when it's in the family like that, it's just, if she has to go pick up the kids, she'll go pick up the kids, and I'll be like, and she's a huge help to me many times, but it's just not real. It's still, when it's your husband, it's just different. It's like, she doesn't train with me. She has a trainer, because
so that's
she
actually
doesn't
true.
like to listen. We have a gym in our basement, and I've written her workouts. Now she's finally come around, but she just, it's like a kid that rather listen to someone else instead of their parents. It's like, when it's your wife, she doesn't want to always listen to me training wise, even though she respects and knows what I do, but she'd rather listen to someone else. And from a business standpoint, as much as she knows how important it is and it pays our bills, it's just different. It's not real. Like, because what's going to happen to her if she doesn't get back to someone? Oh, I had to go pick up the girls from school.
Do my nails or something.
Yeah, I had to go get my hair done. Like, what am I going to do? Fire her? Like, it's just so. I do need.
I don't think you can fire your wife, Joe. I don't think you can fire your wife.
She'll always help, but in 2019, I need like a legit assistant to help. Yeah.
Have we even got to the story about the tagging yet, or we just gone absolutely?
No, you know what this is great. If this was like a show or a movie, it's like told in flashback. Like, they tell a little bit and then they go back to the story and then they get back to the story. So I think the way this episode will go, it'll be like this whole big thing that ends with the story of you tagging, and we told the stories and gave some lessons.
We gave some lessons
along the way that all led, but it is kind of like everything led, all the shit you've done. Throw another one, like all the stuff you've done led to you coming on this podcast, which is a big testament to your work ethic, being driven, going after something that you want, being persistent when you don't get
persistent.
Like that's all part of what this podcast is about. So I think it's almost like appropriate if we just
go full circle,
keep going, and that it's. What do they call that? Like it's like TV shows. They thread stories throughout the episode. Yeah. That's what we're doing.
I think another point that I could bring up with a lot of people who listen to your podcast, they might want to own gyms. They might
a lot. We have a big percentage.
Okay, so I think that the biggest thing that I can give them, and I'm sure you have talked about this before, is, and we said it before about those 2 wankers who screwed you over, was I think the biggest thing to do what we do is you've got to have consistency of effort. And when the hardest moment for me is this is what we love, what we do, is the passion by what we do. Because when times get hard, at least you love the job.
Yes.
That's the hardest thing. Is I always look at people who hate their job and thinking, why even do it?
That
does my head. Does that annoy you?
Yeah. It doesn't even annoy me as much as I would say it baffles me. Like, how can you do that? Like, why didn't you make, like, people who say they hate their job, but they've had it for 20 years. Like,
what do you do?
Oh, my God. Because, again, to your point, I know how hard it is when you, like, we're both passionate. I talk all the time how I love what I do. I made my passion my career.
Yep.
But don't misconstrue that. It's still hard as all hell. It's nonstop. There's stress involved. There's rough days. There's financial stress in this industry, because it's still, even where I'm at, it's up and down. Like, nothing's guaranteed. Like, who's to say what we do if somebody loses their job? Your Defranco Insider membership, it might be the first thing to go if you're trying to, cut corners or something. Certainly nothing that I do is like recession proof, foolproof, guaranteed forever. So you got to stay on top of shit. You got to be relevant. You got to always, this is something Gary Vee talks about a ton. I had his trainer Jordan on last week, where it's like always provide more value.
Value.
Like, just I want people to when they think of Joe Defranco, they just think of
value,
dude,
high level, quality.
That dude has given me so much that $20 a month I spend on his Defranco Insider.
What about the Game Changer? Remember the Game Changer as well?
What?
The Game Changer is Defranco Insider, similar to Defranco Insider.
Like if you those things, I hope you provide so much value that if somebody is having a rough month financially and they go, I got to, their wife is telling them, hey, we got to start cutting corners. They go, no, man, I being part of Woodfords, the Game Changer, or being part of his gym or training there, that means a lot to me. I need that for my mental health.
That's my outlet.
That's my thing. I won't go out to dinner once a week if we have problems. That's what I try to do.
But I think you bring up a very good point. It's giving value and that's free. How much? I mean, for me and yourself included, the amount of free value both of us have given, and you on a long term, you've been doing it a lot longer than me, but still the free content that we both give. I remember, it's funny you say that people said to you, why are you giving free information away?
In the beginning, big time.
When I started, I remember the first 6 months, I told Alex his story, the hate that I got from other people, because what happened with S&C in Australia at the start, it was kind of almost like it was taboo to talk about S&C. It was like a magical creature. Athlete development's magical, where you and me, and you were kind of the first pioneer in America, you and Ball, these guys, and I like to think myself in Australia, where I said, screw this, I'm gonna show what proper training is.
Yep.
Because beforehand it was either nothing against CrossFit's a sport, but it was either CrossFit or powerlifters or Olympic lifters. Now that's strength-based sport. There's nothing bad if you're a strength sport athlete, but if you're a field-based sport athlete, a football, soccer, rugby, netball, whatever you play, how's a heavy 1RM squat going to help them? They want to know, okay, well, if I'm doing a single leg movement, or if I'm doing something explosive like not an Olympic lifting movement, I might do something like a keg toss for height, or a trap bar jump, or something that's less technical, that's going to get the stimulus for adaptation straight away. It's like, I'm going to take a lot more out of that than just lifting heavy or doing Olympic lifting for a strength sport. So I kind of wanted to be transparent, but then being transparent, as you know, brings a lot of haters out, because do you understand? My whole life is online now. People can see it, and that's why I did it to show the young generation that you can be successful if you want to go in the private sector. You don't have to go to pro sport where you have to beg like a pauper. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to do that to expose it, but you showed me that you can do it. Like my first gym, could you put show notes up? Sorry, do you?
Yeah. Well,
maybe I'm going to send you the.
I'll make a note of where it is.
Make a note where I first started. It was like a crappy facility. It just all it had, Joe, was 5 barbells and some weight plates. But 20 kilos is 20 kilos.
Yes.
It's not about what the gym looks like. It's about the coaching. It's about the results. What we talked about before, and you brought it up when I messaged you last night. And you said to me, I don't want you to think that we're going on the 2011 Defranco with the big gym. And I said, Joe, it's never been about that. And I remember you said on an early podcast, you said you were beating other gyms that had new equipment, brand new, look good. But that ain't the Joe Defranco brand. The Joe Defranco brand is results driven. It's the warehouse feel. It's about the coaching and it's about the results. And that's what your brand's about. That's what my brand's about. So
and I think I'm glad you brought up the free content thing, because I feel like if you are confident enough in what you do, you don't worry about giving out free content. Like you talked about, putting that information out there on developing strength for a field-based field sport athlete, team sport athletes. If you're confident in what you do, you'll put that out there, because you don't care if a gym opens up a mile away and says, "Oh, I do what he does," because you know that if someone goes there and then they come to your gym, or if they go to your gym and then they try another gym out that's trying to sell people on the fact that they do the same thing you do, if they just watch the video of yours and they try to memorize some of the shit you said and they just regurgitate that, they will be exposed eventually. They might get a couple people, but we've had gyms open up. When I started the storage closet, for the first 3 years, there was Parisi Speed School, which I worked at, and then I started, and we were the only 2 shows in town. And meanwhile, I'm in a storage closet. Parisi was 30,000 square foot indoor turf field, beautiful facility, but respected athletic development facility. Once people started to see my success and like, oh, that dude's doing it out of a little storage closet, and guys from the New York Giants are training with him, and he's got all these top-level athletes. By the time I opened up my second gym, which was the little bit bigger warehouse gym in Wyckoff, New Jersey, my second facility, By the time I was into my second year there were 9 quote-unquote private sector sports performance facilities
9?
Doing what Defranco's does. 9. From 2 Defranco's and Parisi's to 9 within a 3-year period. And then it was 7, 5, 6, and by the time I was my last year with I call it my dream facility, the last facility before we temporarily moved to Texas, I think it was like down to 4. And I don't know if maybe there's 2 or 3 left of them.
But not 9.
But
not 9.
But my point being, not 9. But it and all those people, a lot of those, I won't take credit for all of them, although I might just be being humble because maybe I can. Because a lot of them were kids, not a lot. There were 2 or 3 kids I trained in high school that were so impacted by their experience at Defranco's, they were like, "Oh, I want to
open my own." Yeah.
So they opened it. So it was cool. I mean, technically, they became competition because there were kids going and training with them, and they were within. But I never minded it. I never minded it, and I supported those guys because they did it the right way. But the business side of me, it didn't prevent me from continuing to put up YouTube videos and post things online and answer questions. Because although I supported them and I respected them, I also had 15 years on them. So I knew maybe, like the ego part of me is like, I know deep down you're not at my level doing this right now. No. You're helping some kids out, and I think that's great that I impacted you, but you're not at that level. And a lot of those, like, they would be the type at that young age to be like, "Oh, I'm not going to put anything online because what I do is secret." Meanwhile, they're just doing the exact same. They're trying to do the exact same thing I did. So that's an important lesson. If you truly are passionate about what you do, but also educated, knowledgeable, and you've gotten results, putting out free information is not going to hinder your results. I always say, if I read a great book, like pick a book, whatever the last book is that you read, and you go, wow, that was so good. I read it twice. I read it 3 times. It's on my bookshelf. If you have the opportunity to meet the author of that book, you would still take it in a second. You wouldn't say, "No, I'm not." Oh no, I read the book. I know everything. Like, you would be like, "Oh shit, I get to meet the author." Like, "Oh, I would love to meet him or her." Why? Because you read that book, you know the information they put on that book. Imagine what they know if you actually met them in person and got to pick their brain and get the real world experience and ask them specifically, your questions, problems, concerns. Like, that would be a dream come true for someone to meet their favorite author or favorite coach. So that's the way I always approached it. Like, buy my DVDs, listen to this podcast, go on my website, follow me on social media. But I would still hope if you met me in person, you would learn something. You would get more out of that. It's not like, "Oh, I've got it all."
Why do you think I flew all the way from Australia?
That is a good example.
Why do you think I flew
no
all
better
the way
example
from Australia?
than that? Yeah.
When I went to the CPPS, meeting you was like, and I'll be honest, in person, you're more, how do I put it?
Disappointing.
No. Yeah, actually disappointing. No, you're more one of the boys. You're like, you're just a normal dude.
I appreciate you saying that because that means a lot. That means more to me than anything. I people that I've looked up to that I've met in person, and you're like,
but they've been dicks.
They're either dicks or they're just not the same. Like, you could instantly tell that aura or facade, whatever the word is, like that whatever they're portraying on social media or on YouTube.
Fake. It's fake.
It's the cameras are on. Let me be this character,
and then afterwards,
and in real world, completely different person. The biggest compliment I get is people go, "Dude," and Smitty too. They always say this to both of us. You guys are exactly like, for me now having this podcast, they go, "Oh my God, it's like I feel like I know you because I listen to your podcast and you're the exact same person. You're so easy to talk to. I feel like we've been friends forever." But while I'm flattered by that, it also makes me think, like, what kind of dicks are in this industry? Like, who do you think you are? Like because you have a good Instagram following, like, you're now celebrity status where you can't talk to a young coach like a normal human.
Arrogancy.
Yeah, like the fact that it's surprising to people when they meet Smitty and I and they go, "Wow, you guys are so down to earth and you're just like you really
People.
are like on in
perceive
YouTube,
on Instagram,
like
yeah.
you're the person that you actually put out there. Why is that like an actual? Why is that uncommon? Like that's insane.
Because the
to
industry
me.
is full of fakes and frauds. Come on, man, you know that.
But it's crazy to me.
It's crazy. Can I take a piss?
Yeah, go ahead. But Alex, why don't you jump on there for a second? Just talk to me. Wait, speaking how my man Alex is jumping on you, CPPS coach that works with Kristian as he takes a piss. I hope that door's not locked. I think I unlocked it. All the doors lock right behind you in this facility. Now you can't leave. How long have you been working with Kristian?
I've been working with Kristian for nearly 2 years, and then before then I've been a coach for another 2 years before then.
And what brought you to his gym?
Man, I was looking for the best performance facilities to train athletes, and I couldn't find many. And what I was gravitated towards was the quality of coaching and how just simple foundational principles, nothing fancy.
Yeah.
It was effective and it worked. Then once I started the internship, I'm like, I have to work here. And so I made it happen.
Yeah, it's so to the point of he was who you thought he was when you met him as well. It wasn't like a different person when you showed up at his facility.
He's the same dude.
Yeah, and I think that's why he has stood. Although it's still I look at him and you guys as young, 6 years in the industry. It's those are the people that are going to stick around. I was asking Alex if you were the person that he thought you were when he came to you initially. Speaking of being the same, not putting an image out there and then being a completely different person, which to me, now that you bringing that up, you talk about like of all the things that are screwed up in this industry, I would say that's probably my number one is the aura, the image that you could put out there on social media and fool people into thinking you're an expert because you have abs or you're lean or you're juiced out of your mind and you're jacked and you're really strong. So now you do online coaching and you try to get that quick money grab. Those types make guys like us, they don't make us look bad because we will always shine through, but we could get lost in the shuffle of that young kid. Yep. Alex, your generation, that's like, oh, I either want to hire an online coach or I want to go to a gym in my area or I want to follow almost like a mentor on Instagram, someone that I could follow and get information from each day. When they're searching for that coach, it's harder for us to stand out among a younger, more naive kid, person trying to they don't have to be young, but if they're just new to the industry looking for direction, it's way harder to find the true pros with so much bullshit out there.
I think the thing is, anyone can call themselves an expert these days, though, can't they?
Yeah, like you put it in your Instagram profile.
Literally,
expert, fitness expert.
I think you brought up
coach
before, but you said that a lot of people, what they'll do with the kids, not only just kids, but anyone in general, say, look, I'm this expert, I've trained this, and they've been in the industry for 6 months. Who's them to stop them? No one.
Yeah, you can't.
So I think the biggest issue is the frauds and there's so many of them in this industry, and I just think the whole thing is either image focused, which I think most of these people do not give a flying crap. Flying, they don't care about that individual. Where people like you and me, we actually care about our clients.
Yeah.
And I think that's the worst thing because these people write up a plan. And it's not even individualized, it's cookie cutter. And they know that. That's why they sell these online plans.
Exactly.
And my whole thing about these people is to me, they're scum. And I don't know if you guys use that word much, scumbags. But
yeah, we know. Scumbag is pretty universal.
Okay, well, they're the scumbags because they make us look like we just don't. Our industry overall looks pathetic because these people. And it's. Yes, there's a lot of them, but there's a lot of good people in the industry who actually really care. So my whole point about what I do is to educate as many people as possible as what right training is and what the wrong training is.
Yep.
And you listen, like anything, we both run a business. Both of us run a business, so we need to make money to survive, right?
Of course, yes.
But there's the right way of doing things in this industry, and then there's the wrong way of doing things, right?
Yep.
You do the right way, and you're living testament, 20 years, whatever it is, of running a business. I've been doing Woodford 6 years, my 7th year. And what is the stat? I don't know what is in Australia. The stat is after going for 2 years, there's only a certain amount of businesses that can make it.
Yeah, I think it's like it's a staggering. It's like 99% of all small businesses fail in the first year. Yeah.
Okay, something like that. And the fact that you've last 20 years is a testament. And in an industry that's so volatile like ours, exactly what you said, the first thing, as my dad always said, the first thing to go is, okay, well, you know, the gym membership will probably, you know what I mean? Like when people go in hard times, the first thing to go is gym membership. So it's a testament to the last 20 years. But for anyone out there who's listening and and interested in terms of what we both do, and there'll be a lot of them, is just do it the right way. Don't be in. And David Joyce brings this up. So a guy in the AFL who's a high performance manager, he was on one of my podcasts, and he said, "Be in a rush to be excellent, not successful. Don't be in a rush to always."
I like that.
You know, it's good. But shout out to Joycey. But you don't have to be in a rush to always be like the most followers or the most likes. You know, just take your time with it. I did it. I was 19 when I started, and I was cleaning equipment. These days, if I got a kid to clean any equipment, I'm above that. I don't have to do that.
Yeah. I still to this day will take out the freaking garbage when it but yeah, I've had that too where an intern will be like, I have to clean the bathroom. Hell yeah, you're an intern, you know. And that's one of the problems. It's that entitlement of, I want to be the man. I want to be the woman today. Or hey, I've been doing this for a year, man. I shouldn't have to take out the garbage. I shouldn't have to wipe down the equipment. Like shit, I'm 43 years old. I still wipe down the equipment in here, take out the garbage. And if you care about something and you're passionate, and the best coaches I know still pay attention to those details and
minor details.
Big time.
Do you still wear your white wife beater? That's a classic photo, Joe.
I wish I don't even have that photo, like the original of that photo. It's like this little you gotta pull up the T Nation article, but that's a great point. I don't rock. I rock a lot of sleeveless T-shirts, but I'm not a big wife beater guy as much anymore. I've grown up a little bit. I'm all class.
Prime. That's all class.
Very classy now.
They're taking the jersey.
Now I just do tight T-shirts instead of beaters. So we do need to wrap this up. Okay. Let's finish with how do you got?
How long we've been going?
How you got on the?
Is this the longest episode ever?
Jill Miller was almost 2 hours. We might end up there, but
can we break Jill Miller's record,
we'll
please?
See.
Jill Miller, I follow her as well. Jill Miller,
yeah, she's great.
She's good. Okay, so what happened? Oh, Jesus!
How did you get here?
So how I got here? So we've gone full circle here. So we did a video, and I called what Alex was saying, calling out Joe Defranco. I didn't call him out. I said, Joe, get me on your show. You know about me. I respect you. Without you, you weren't. You know, I pretty much went on to say you know who I am, but I said it again. And then what happened was my man over here said, let's tag all these people. And we started tagging. And I'll be honest with you, we asked people to tag Joe. And do you know what? Respect the Australian community. They got behind me.
Yeah, I got a lot of because it didn't. Listen, I don't have millions of followers, but like I have over 100,000 on Instagram, where it's enough that you get a lot of like. If I looked at my phone right now, there's a lot of tags and DMs. Like it is easy for stuff. Like my wife will tag me in certain things, and I'll get home from work, and she'll be like, "Oh, do you see that thing, that DM I sent you?" And I'll be like, "No, I totally missed it." You definitely tagged enough people because I didn't miss it. I was like, "What?" Like there was some big. I thought something happened in the world. Like something big's going on. Like shit, did something bad happen? Like my phone is blowing up, and by like all the different people. I was like, "Oh, this bastard!" And as I told you, the funny thing was, Alex at the cert, he was like, "Hey, would you ever have Kristian on your podcast?" I go, "Absolutely. Just tell him to shoot me an email." Now I know I didn't get back to your email.
You didn't get back to me.
I was in the. I would have definitely gotten back to you. But
I would have gotten back to you. Okay.
I actually, if you listen to that podcast,
you did say
you probably, and that was before I responded to you. I think. I think if you listen to that podcast when I recorded it, I said, because I remember looking at my email, just glancing at it, and being like, man, I got to get back to a lot of I need to go through this because there's some I said I get a lot of bullshit. Like people just looking for free information from me, or just, hey, Joe, I want to pick your brain, and it's 5 paragraphs. They want a personalized program for free or something. So I'm trying to sift through that, and I'm like, I need to sift through all this stuff. I was finishing up my book proposal at the time. I was just like tunnel vision. 2 weeks. I said, screw it. I'm not checking emails. I'm not even checking my text messages. I'm just going all in. You happened to email me during that 2-week period where I'm never great at emails because I get so many of them, but that was like 2 weeks of the worst 2 weeks you could have ever emailed me, and I think I mentioned it. I remember mentioning it on the podcast, but so I guess I don't know if you heard that or not, but you had enough people tagged me that it was like when I finished the book proposal, and then I was like, all right, I got to check my email. I got to start catching up some of these DMs and text messages. I was like, let me freaking get back to this Kristian dude because I got 9 million tags. Meanwhile, I said to Alex, I go, yeah, I would love to have him come on the show. I just don't want to do it through Skype because I don't like the sound quality. Next time he's in the United States, just have him tell me, and he's on the show. You didn't have to go through that. I would have gotten back to you probably a week later, but it makes for a much funnier story.
It's a better story,
and the persistence I think is important. Like if you there's a lot of people who talk shit about how bad I want it bad. I work my ass off. But they don't. Their actions don't show or speak that they want it bad. They talk about wanting it bad, like doing, and that's just one little example of you. You know, you had a goal that you wanted to be on this podcast, and it's like I'm going to make it happen. I emailed him. I emailed him again. All right, he didn't get back to me. Now I'm going to do this, and I'm just going to keep going until I freaking get what I want.
I just think people just talk a lot.
Something to be learned there.
Talk, and they just don't do it. And people who are successful immediately do it.
Yes.
So my thing with you, I know how you are because I can only imagine. I know what I get, and I'm minute compared to what you've 20 years. I'm 6, right?
Yeah.
In Defranco's business since you started. So I know the issues that you'd get on a huge scale. Now, I'm already getting them now. Like, we've talked about this before. So I just said, okay, I'm going to have to go around this a different way. And fortunately, I just said, look, I'm gonna tell you. And then we just came up, Alex came up with the tagging. And I knew your phone. But the thing, you know what the funny thing about that was? I've gone full circle now as well because at the start, because I was young, I got so many people hating on me. Now I'm getting people love me. So it's kind of a little bit different. Like, all those people getting behind me. I've had the whole of Australia message me the last 2 days. Like, I'm telling you.
Really?
That many people say to me, we're all behind you, mate. We're behind you. We're behind you.
Oh, it's awesome.
It feels great to hear that because it's like, oh my God, I'm not. And I say this to people. I'm not just. I'm not representing myself. I'm not representing Woodford. I'm representing every Australian coach who wants it better, Joe. And for you to allow me on this, we can create an industry from this in Australia. So, from behalf of the Australian coaches, we thank you very much because to allow that has been fantastic.
No, and I appreciate what you're doing, and that's always been my goal. Is I want more than just to train people and have pro athletes on the wall. Like I want to leave a legacy in the industry, and not just in New Jersey, not just in the U.S. That's why we do the certification.
Yep.
You know that's why I'm doing what I do right now. So I want to expose people like you.
Yep.
To the world, and you have more of a reach, or you're physically in Australia. So I want, speaking of that Instagram thing and the good coaches kind of getting drowned out a little bit by the shitty kind of posers. Yep. I want to expose the real coaches to those people, just to the world, so they know who I don't want to just say Defranco approved, but the
you can say it.
The real ones, the real coaches out there.
You have said it before. Defranco approved.
Woodfords is definitely Defranco approved.
We're going to get that soundbite. We're going to use that.
A couple of our CPPS coaches have that in their gym. I sent them my logo, and then they had like a stamp printed on it because you don't have to have it, but if you want it, we do the Defranco approved stamp.
We want it bad. Yeah, 100%.
You can have a banner made or whatever the hell you want.
No, I'll do it, man. Yeah, if you told me that,
Defranco approved.
Hell yeah.
See, that's the humble part of me. Hey, Kristian, you want my logo on your fucking gym wall?
Are you serious, man? I want your logo, man. If you, man, I have a banner of myself, so I'm sponsored by this company, LP, right? Excuse me, a compression company, right? I would literally take that down and put your thing up there.
No, don't. You
told me that.
There's enough room for everyone, I'm sure.
You're getting humble. I didn't know you did that, so that's awesome. We're definitely getting that done. And I'm going to send you a photo.
That's perfect. It just I'm laughing now because that was I don't even like telling this, but it's just funny because my wife busts my balls. She's like, obviously very appreciative and supportive of everyone who supports me because I support her and my kids through what I do. But like we've been getting more. It's not uncommon. I'd say once every 2 to 3 months, she will get an email from someone asking for like how much a signed 8x10 a picture of me is, and she'll be like, "Are these people serious? Is this a joke?" And I'm like, I go, I don't know. Email them back, and it'll be like a girlfriend saying, "Oh, my husband or my boyfriend's a huge fan of Joe's. For his birthday, I want to surprise him with a signed 8x10." But the funny thing is, like, I don't even have an 8x10 of myself. Like, I guess I could go online and print, a picture out, but I've never had like a professional photographer come and me just stand there. Like, I have the wife beater picture that my dad took
that's the
in the storage closet, but I don't have the original of that anymore. But it's flattering, but it's just, to me, I equate it to that, like, just like it's weird for me to sign an 8x10 to someone for their birthday. Like, what am I, freaking Tom Cruise?
You're the Tom Cruise, the street.
I gotta come up. Let's say The Rock in the strength and conditioning.
Could we
instead.
On the show
but
notes?
It's just weird to me.
For the show notes, can you put up that wife beater? Because everyone's going to ask you now.
Well, yeah, but like I said, I'm gonna just have to Google the picture. I wish I had the original.
Oh,
Like
it's a classic. The old classic.
when you look for it online, if you like click on it, it's just like this real small, low quality picture. But it is a classic. I'm sure people know.
It's still a
which
classic.
one it is.
It's still a classic photo.
I could take a screenshot of something with that, but yeah, still getting used to the 8x10s or the Defranco approved. I didn't know that meant so much.
No, please. I'm serious. I'm going to pest you for that now because I want to put up in my gym and also on the websites as well. Alex, the website, man, yeah, 100%. So I just quickly, before we
approved.
Before we end this,
final thoughts. What do you got?
You tell me you've never ever had professional shots done ever.
For when I did the Operation Rebuild Joe D, as like a before. Not like a professional like headshot. I had like the shirtless picture just to show.
Was professional though.
Yeah, shout out Brandon Wells. He's the man. He's doing AMP 3.0 for Smitty and I right now. Yeah. But yeah, he came and took pictures of me training and stuff so I could show like my body fat loss. But it wasn't like Joe, like I would say with a t-shirt or a regular shirt standing there as like a professional headshot.
Yeah.
Never in my life have I had one.
Yeah.
Which I'm not bragging about. I think if you want to be taken seriously in this industry, you should probably have some professional photos. It's just never been my thing. You would think there's the personal training industry and even strength and conditioning. It's such an ego-driven field.
Industry,
Most people, that's all they have is pictures of themselves.
Yeah.
Now, more of my content has become about me and my training and like working around injuries, and I've been helping the whole washed up meathead crowd a lot more because I'm not training freaking 70 athletes a day like I used to. If my content up until 5 years ago, it was never about me. It was all about the athletes I was training.
Yeah,
it just kind of evolved. I think a lot of the younger athletes, the kids that were in high school and college, and even the pro athletes that followed my content, they're now adults. They're either gym owners, fathers, husbands, businessmen that want to know, like, well, Joe, that's awesome. We loved hearing about your combine training and your performance training, but what do you do as a 43-year-old guy to just stay healthy and in shape? So now there's a lot more like content of myself, but I was never in this for yourself. Hey, look at me, I'm the most jacked guy, because I'm not the most jacked guy in the world. I'm not the strongest guy in the world. I've always promoted my business on the results and other people. Yeah. It's always been about the client for me, which I think is another lesson for most trainers. That's the other thing in the Instagram world. It's not about the clients. It's about them. I have abs. I'm shredded. Here's a picture of me eating breakfast. Here's a picture of me eating dinner. Here's a picture of me driving to the gym. Here's a picture of me after arms. Like which that baffles me that some of those guys, I see how the women, because guys are freaking creepy and they want to look at half naked chicks. So I understand how the hot chick that's half naked has 10 million followers on Instagram. But the dudes who are they're jacked and they're shredded. God bless them. They look great. But how there's so many of those guys with 500,000 followers, 1 million followers, like, and if you look through their feed for 30 seconds. There's no information. None. It's look at me. Oh, this is good lighting. Oh, this is bad lighting. Oh, I just spoke up. Why, or maybe it's women following the dude because he's hot. Like, I don't know, but that always baffled me. I feel like I feel guilty. That's why if you look at my Instagram, I barely have, when I was talking to Jordan last week and before we recorded, he was talking about growing his Instagram following by posting 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Which I'm all for, but when you post 3 times a day, not every post is going to be like quality
It's gonna be
information.
saturated. Yeah,
You're going to have that. Hey, I just got some coffee for breakfast.
Wait. Say it again.
Coffee. I don't put a lot of those. Like, I don't do that. Like, hey, here's a look at the pizza I'm eating for dinner tonight. I feel like, who the hell cares? If I'm going to take the time to post something, I want to provide valuable information.
Yeah.
And I know maybe I take it too seriously. Instagram doesn't have to be that serious. I just find it's baffling to me that the dude that's all he posts is pictures of himself and his food with no information whatsoever. How they have those types, I'll clump them all in one category, how they generally have way more of a following than the best coaches in the world.
Ridiculous.
Baffling.
Do you know what we call them in Australia?
Wankers.
Wankers. I like that. But social media influencers. Do they call them that?
Yeah, but that's not even, they call themselves, like, I feel like that's not a bad term. Like, they're like, yeah, I'm a social media influencer. Companies pay me to take pictures of myself and do nothing all day.
But they're not. My thing is, people get confused. They're not experts in the field, though. Just because they are shredded or they're jacked or this chick has a nice ass doesn't mean they're experts. But I think so many people get so sucked in by that.
Yeah.
And
I wouldn't want to be called I mean, I guess we are, like, guys like us are, we do influence people, but I wouldn't, I certainly am not going to put on my resume, like, what do you do for a living? I'm an influencer.
No, you're a coach.
I hate that freaking terminology. So, that'll be our thing. If you're a social media influencer, you're basically a wanker for a living.
You're a wanker. That's Joe D approved. Wanker.
Joe D
approved wanker.
That's going to be my new T-shirt, not a wanker.
Yes.
There's my new T-shirt.
Not a wanker.
All right, so you got anything else? I mean, I think you just surpassed Jill Miller's episode. Was like an hour 46 or 50. We're like,
hey! Can I just say one thing?
Yes,
I'm going to say it anyway.
And then you got to tell everybody where the hell they could follow. Speaking of influencing on social media, you got to tell people where the hell they can follow you.
Just quickly, I forgot what I was going to say now. It's been going that long. What was I going to say, Al? What was we talking about just before?
Influencers, wankers, where people could follow you, something about Instagram, what people look like, bad coaches.
Bad coaches. God, we talked a lot today about that. Well, if you want to know where you can find... Oh, no, that was it.
I thought it would come to you.
It was going to come to me. It was about you saying I had the longest show to Jill Miller. Don't you think that's an omen, Joe? Do you think that's a bit of an omen? I think that's an omen.
What, for you being the most downloaded?
Most download. That's an omen right there.
As you know... Bigger isn't always better.
Yes, I know.
So we'll see. Now, if you could have the longest show and the best show, now we're talking. Now we're talking.
Let me just say quickly, you can find me at Coach Woodford, Instagram. Listen, I've got every means of social media. So I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook, I've got Twitter, I've got LinkedIn. You can find me anywhere. So Instagram, it's Coach Woodford. Woodford SSC for Instagram. Woodford Sports Science Consulting for Facebook. Kristian Woodford on Facebook. You can add me. You can find me on Facebook. I am what you see is what you get, as you can see. So if you just want to, Joe's having a laugh. If you just want to find me, or just I might even. I can't accept anyone else. I got 5,000 friends, so I kind of just. You can just fire, and I can still write back. So if you want to inbox me, that's sweet. But just quickly, I want to thank Joe for letting me on. I really do appreciate it. And for all you guys who have listened. And please, we do want to make this the biggest episode ever. So, listen, anything I can do, inbox me, and I will do it. If you... Oh, that's right. Thank you, Alex, for letting me bring this up. So,
here we go.
Here's what we got for you, right? My ebook has sold, I think, over 5, 6. It's gone very well. Let's just put it that way, right? It's called The Big Six. So it's pretty much my foundational ebook that it goes off all my methods. It's just a snapshot of what we do. But it's 6 primal patterns. Remember, train movements, not muscle groups. We use a classification system. We've got 6 classifications. Lower body push, lower body pull, which is a hip hinge. Horizontal push is a push-up bench press. Horizontal pull row. Overhead, vertical push is an overhead press. And I know you don't like overhead pressing. Vertical pull is a chin-up. I know you don't like it.
All right,
So I've got 6 movements. And what we do is... You know how a lot of people think, the first, lower body push is a squat. They think of a back squat straight away. Choose a variant or a regression or progression based on the athlete's competency and their body type. So I'll just give you an example, right? When an athlete first comes in the gym, we don't put a barbell on their back. We start a bodyweight squat bottom up. So they learn the position, their feet position. We use a mini band above their knee, Mac-Iron Fitness, which you can't get in America anyway, above their knee to abduct. When you abduct, what do you switch on? Glute med. So we hit 2 birds, 1 stone. But the benefit of starting a bottom-up squat is they learn to overcome their own weight and learn the position they need to be in for a squat position. Trunk upright, lots ankle dorsiflexion. And then people always say, how quickly before I put a barbell on your back? How long's a piece of string? It's all about being competent in the movement. We want quality of movement, but also they understand the positions they need to be in to progress on as well. So sometimes most guys who come in, they've been in a high performance program. They're pretty good. Everyone starts at the bottom level with me, and how quickly they progress is based on their competency. So only 2 weeks before they progress.
Yeah.
Now for your guys, it might be different. You're dealing with pro guys. I've had an S&C coach before. They're pretty good. They might not start. Depends where they start. So I've got a big 6 ebook. So here's the thing I'm going to do for all your listeners, right?
I like it.
If you share this podcast, so you tell me what do they have to do to do it? I don't understand. Do they share it? How do they, what? That's what we need. We need.
Yeah, you need to they downloads count. So you got to go on either listening on my website or going on iTunes.
Does that come up though as a listen?
On my website does, yes. If you listen on the link I always post on like my Instagram story or like on my website, either listen. Actually, they all count. The website, directly on iTunes, Stitcher, or Spotify. Okay, it all counts. So just listen. I don't care how you listen.
Okay, this is how we do it, right? This is what we're going to do, right? You listen to this podcast, you share it on any social media because they can share it, right?
Yeah, they just post the link of anything.
Anything. Post a link on anything, right? Or tag me, either one that once you've done, or what you can do is you can take a screenshot of it and then send it through and get this email because it's very important you get this email. Info, I-N-F-O, at woodfordsssc.com and we'll give you a complimentary Big 6 ebook free of charge. Normally $24.90, whatever it is, it's sold a lot. We're going to give it free of charge, but you have to screenshot it and prove you shared it and you listen to it, and that's free of charge.
Fair enough right there. That helps us all out. I'm going to have to go to Australia.
I told you I had something for them. So, listen, let's get behind this. We want to see Joe D in Australia. So, by the way, there's a few other things that are going to happen as well behind this. So, I've got a lot of pull in Australia. So, we're going to bring Joe D to Australia. We're going to make a Facebook page. We're going to push this episode as much as possible. So, let's beat it.
All right, love it. Appreciate you guys coming and it's all seriousness. Kristian, Alex, 2 guys that we are super proud to have as part of our CPPS family. Definitely Defranco approved, CPPS approved. If you are in the Australian area and you actually are looking for training, definitely hit them up and head over to Kristian's gym. It's as Defranco approved as they come. So when we started the CERT, like I mentioned, you guys are the types of coaches that we wanted part of our crew, and these are the type of coaches that we want to surround ourselves with and continue to spread the good word of strength and conditioning, making strength and conditioning great again.
Can I do the intro? Like, Orlando, hit the damn music.
Yeah, we could do that. We'll do that right now. We'll go back and we'll record the intro.
Damn.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thanks,
Peace.
guys. Thank you.
Nice.
There you go.
Damn.
155, son. You almost made the 2 hour mark.
That's good, though.
Fuck. Yeah, there was not a dull moment in there. Oh, shit.
I told you I was going to give you fire.
You stepped up.
I told you I have to step up. And then I noticed I could see you were going up. I'm thinking, I'm going to go back and forth here. He reminds me of when you and I do it, and then Joe picks it up, and I know where he's picking up because I could sense it, and so I'm like, I'm going to have to go up to his level here, so we go back and forth.
Yeah, you need that.
Sit back down, mate.
I'm going to sit there again. I've just sat down for my back.
Yeah, me too.
Surely your back with your...
Oh, it's kills. Oh, well, I got to... we'll keep I'll do the intro real short and sweet because I don't want it... I actually don't want it to go over 2 hours, so I'll just do it real quick. Hey.
You know, what about, so you don't care if Joe Rogan, he'll go 3 hours, you're not into that?
I think he's a fucking oddity when it comes to that. Very, very rare. Okay. Very rare.
Okay.
I mean, you could say he's got the most popular podcast in the world, but for somehow it works with him.
And we know people will listen to that.
But here's my thing. that's the beauty of podcasts. Like, if you don't, like, I don't know, maybe there's a part in there. If you're not a trainer, and when we talk 5 minutes about, hey, if you're a fucking trainer, here's my advice, you fucking fast forward it. Like, even sometimes, the majority of my audience loves, like, they actually like the small talk and just, like, kind of but like, when Ashley's on the show, always fucking a lot of downloads, my dad. And we don't even do any training talk. In the beginning, I used to think, I don't want people to be like, what the fuck, they're talking about nothing. But everybody loves that. And maybe because I don't do it a lot. I don't know if everybody wants to just hear me talk about the weather and the news fucking every week. But if 10 shows are about training and then one, me and Ashley just fucking bicker back and forth and bullshit and make fun of each other.
I reckon they're great episodes. Though.
Yeah, people enjoy that because they can relate to it. Like, oh yeah, I fucking argue with my wife too, kind of thing. But there's always like that one that'll, like, if I have a long intro where I go off on a tangent on something, I'll get that email like, dude, you get to the fucking point, shut the fuck up. I'm like, first of all, it's a free podcast. Yeah. And that's why I take the time, which fucking I've actually been doing. I used to have someone else do them. I do them myself now. Like, I write out show notes with timestamps saying, here's the fucking intro at 16 minutes and 20 seconds. The podcast starts.
Oh, you do that yourself.
Fast forward that. Now, I didn't always. The past couple I've been doing myself. I got to get someone else to do it. But I don't mind doing it because I listen back. Like I said, when I have a guest, I like to listen back, and I'll take some notes on shit anyway. And it's what it gives me. What I do is when I drive to Connecticut to train Triple H and Steph, it's like an hour and a half drive.
Oh, so you listen?
So I listen, and I just literally I have a notebook, like, not that I'm writing while I'm driving, but if, like, whenever there's a good topic, like, I'll just write, like, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 20 seconds. And then I go home and I just type it in. So it actually, I'm in the car for an hour and a half anyway, so it's not like I'm sitting at my desk doing busy work for fucking 3 hours. I have to be in the car. But, there's always that asshole that's like, your fucking intro was too long. Get to the point. I'm like, press fast forward, dick. Like, I don't. Sorry, my free fucking podcast with an hour's worth of free information. 10 minutes was too long for you in the beginning. And
how fucked is that, really? Fuck, shut the fuck up. Oh, fuck.
So let me just see what episode will this.
How many times did you get messaged that whole time?
Oh, God, Smitty hit me up like 30 times. I told him I was going to call him back last night.
Tell him I say hello.
Ashley, I told her to be home at 5. It's 5:45.